New York and New Jersey bomber was taken into custody yesterday, but the FBI says it found no ties to terrorism when it conducted an assessment of Ahmed Ramhami 2 years ago based on comments made by his father after a domestic dispute.
Two sources confirmed the FBI followed up on the lead, but there was not enough to pursue, and the original allegations were eventually withdrawn. A law enforcement source said the frequency of those trips to Afghanistan was not suspicious at the time because of his family ties, and the number of trips did not suggest that he was getting outside help to pay for those flights.
Fox's Catherine Herridge. Rahami remains hospitalized. 2 officers, also wounded in a shootout when he was captured, have been released. Bipartisan fury at a Senate hearing on what happened at Wells Fargo. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern live on the Hill.
Wells Fargo CEO John Stump says he takes responsibility for employees setting up accounts and credit cards for customers without consent to hit sales targets.
Goes against everything regarding our core principles, our ethics, and our culture.
More than 5,000 Wells Fargo employees were fired, and the bank was fined $185 million. But Senate Banking Committee Democrat Elizabeth Warren says that's not enough.
You should resign. You should give back the money that you took while this scam was going on, and you should be criminally investigated.
The bank CEO also criticized for the high-priced retirement of a former Wells Fargo president amid the scandal. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Wells Fargo stock up about 2%. And the Dow up 10 points at the closing bell. The crash of a U-2 spy plane under investigation in California. It was based north of Sacramento. The Air Force says there were 2 pilots and both ejected, but no word yet on their conditions. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy. It's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
Focus. You need it to run a business, so don't let legal questions distract you. Use LegalZoom instead. Things like lease agreements and employment laws get complicated, but they're part of running a business. That's why LegalZoom built a network of independent attorneys in 48 states. You can rely on them for the legal details without paying by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. So focus on growing your business and use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
Trump rejecting Hillary Clinton's claim that his rhetoric is a recruiting tool for terrorists, instead calling for accountability on her record as Secretary of State.
Her bad judgment, her bad decision-making, her policies in Iraq and Libya and Syria are responsible for the rise of ISIS.
Trump holding a North Carolina rally as Clinton takes the day off the campaign trail, prepping for next week's debate, holding a conference call with national security advisors after meeting with world leaders in New York for the UN General Assembly. Polls continue to show a tightening race.
A new Monmouth poll shows that in Florida, a key battleground state, that Clinton is leading by 5 points, leading Donald Trump 46% to 41% among likely voters, with 5% undecided. In August, Monmouth gave Clinton a 9-point lead. But a new poll from Elon University in North Carolina, Trump leads Clinton by 1 point, 44 to 43% of likely voters.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin in Chappaqua. 2 mothers living a nightmare in 2 states.
2 very young children are dead after accidents just outside their homes on Monday. In Florida, a mother mistakenly backed her SUV over her 1-year-old son in the driveway.
We're not just here investigating, but we're also providing support for the family who is going through a very rough and sad time at this moment.
North Miami Police Commander Rafael Estrugo, no charges have been filed. Similar story in Ruckersville, Virginia, where an 18-month-old girl was run over by her mother's SUV when the mom was washing it. One of her older daughters got into the front seat and unknowingly shifted the vehicle into neutral, and the SUV rolled right over the girl, crushing her. Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Brad Pitt out with a statement asking for privacy for the children. Now that Angelina Jolie has filed for divorce, she filed papers yesterday in L.A. And Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Did you ever think Brangelina would be no longer a thing?
It's a sad day.
It's a sad day for beautiful people. Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the heating and cooling experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Help keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 88, low 63. Thursday, mostly sunny, 88 for your high, low 65. Summer's still here for this week. Right now, mostly sunny, 91 in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Warner. Another show to talk about bad football. And I think we're going to be doing plenty of that this fall.
Is football season over in the state of Illinois?
It's over, and technically, Jeremy, it's not even fall. Fall begins Thursday.
Right.
And football season
and
is already
90
over.
Degrees out. So here's what we got. We got the Bears are 0-2, and 0-2 teams rarely make the playoffs, right? The Illini are 1-2 with a bear of a schedule ahead.
No pun intended.
No, I didn't. NIU, if you're an NIU fan, they're 0-3 for the first time in a long time.
Now, have they faced good teams in that stretch?
Not really.
Yeah, I would have think I would have heard about a matchup.
I mean, Illinois State, great start, 2-0, beat Northwestern, then they lose to EIU. So both those programs, I guess you can still make the playoffs, and you got a good season probably ahead of you for both of those. But still, like Northwestern's 1-2, they'll probably find a way to a bowl game. But football is really uninteresting in the state of Illinois when you get to the college. So let's just focus on high school the rest of the year.
That's fine. But, I talked with Austin and Nathan back towards the end of the summer. High school football for me, I just didn't grow up with that as a big part of my life, so I can't shoehorn my way into that.
I'll tell you what, Class 8A in the state of Illinois is going to be really fun once we get to the playoffs. So
absolutely.
There you go.
But for me, someone could say, well, hockey seasons, I'm not into hockey. Cubs, playoff push.
That's what the state has going for it. And if you're a Cardinals fan, the Cardinals are back in the second wild card spot. We keep saying it. Every time you think they're dead, they come right back. I mean, they lose the first two to the Giants, then they win the next two, and then they win last night in Colorado to start that series. So we'll talk about the Cardinals. Chris Raby, KMOX. So we got plenty of baseball to talk about the next couple of weeks. But we are going to talk with Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. We'll hit on the Cubs, but the Bears are the bigger story today.
They are.
They're 0-2. That was a terrible showing last night. We got to bring in our guy, Austin Berkland, here in a moment to talk about this. But I didn't have high expectations for this season. Actually, I had no expectations for the Bears season.
Me neither.
But a lot of people thought, year two, even in football, a rebuild can go pretty quickly, that this could be the year they take a step forward. They're going to probably take a step back this year.
It looks that way. And what's surprising is they did add some tools. They have linebackers now, actual linebackers in the middle that played pretty well last night.
Jarrell Freeman looks phenomenal.
He does.
Thanks, Colts.
But there's no pass rush whatsoever. Pernell McPhee would help with that, but he's out for at least another 4 games. The secondary is just a patchwork of guys. Tracy Porter being the best one, 2 really young safeties. So on the defense, which Carson
They're good against the run.
They are good against the run, and Carson Wentz was doing his thing, picking apart that secondary and really high completion percentage last night. But overall, the defense in the first 2 games has been serviceable.
Sure.
This isn't Mark Trestman 2 years ago and Mel Tucker, right? It's not to that level, and I don't think it will. The offense, though, who's your running back? I don't know if Langford's the guy.
He's not. I want to go with Jordan Howard.
I do, too.
But when you do that, you're talking about, what's the talent there?
I don't know.
Alshon Jeffrey's really good, right? The Bears' superstar right now, and he's not even a superstar, is Alshon Jeffrey. Who's your next best player?
Eddie Royal.
Kyle Long. Maybe. That is what your roster is at this point. And I got to be honest with you, as a Bears fan, the Jay Cutler thing, we'll get into that. I guess that's a hot topic again today. He had a bad game last night. He's hurt. Could be out a while, and that could dump the Bears season, which might not be a bad thing because they don't have enough talent. Leonard Floyd and Kevin White got to be good for this team because they just don't have many great athletes or high caliber athletes that when you look around the NFL and look at superstars that they have to have. So Kevin White's raw. Leonard Floyd, even though he's 24 years old, is a pretty raw football player who needs to add strength, all those things. So I'm starting to worry, or I'm starting to at least have doubts about Ryan Pace, right? I mean, this is his roster. He let Forte go, and I kind of understood it.
He's been good through 2 games.
Brandon Marshall, they let him go. They let all these guys go, and I kind of got it because it wasn't working before, right? And at some point, you got to have a youth movement. But this isn't working yet. I mean, you've lost, 11 of your last 12 home games?
And there's
some issues.
There was nothing verbalized by Pace or Fox, and I wouldn't expect it from Fox in the first place, to say, hey, guys, here's the plan. And what this plan includes is being terrible for a couple of years. That was never established. And in the NFL, you don't really need that same sort of Cubs rebuild where you tear everything down and build it back up. You can get away with incremental improvement. And that's what I was hoping for this season.
Yeah, I didn't expect a playoff team.
No.
But I expected better than what we saw last year, right? Which was kind of the rebuild year. And then even they set the expectation that year 2 will be better. And there's still a long season ahead of us. But with Cutler out, no matter what you think of him, they don't have much of a chance to win.
No offense to Brian Hoyer, but you don't.
And there's not much else on that roster that inspires a lot of confidence right now that they can make the plays to win games.
And additionally, there were 2,000 no-shows at the game last night. And Soldier Field used to have that reputation, maybe not the loudest place in the NFL, but you knew every seat, it was a hot ticket. I went on Vivid Seats to check out the next home game, which I think might not be until Detroit. I think they have a couple. No, that's not true. They have Sunday night against Dallas,
yeah.
But yeah, just the October 2nd game against Detroit, and the cheapest tickets are still $122. I guarantee you the week of that game, we're going to be looking more like $60, $70 for those upper deck tickets because there is a bit of an apathy with Bears fans, and it's not surprising given the fact that 2010 was the last time you made the playoffs.
Yeah.
2010. Now, in 2012, let's go over this because it gradually went from being competitive but disappointing finishes to seasons to just being outright terrible.
Under Lovie Smith, right?
2011, you had a 7-3 team. Cutler breaks his hand. You go 8-8.
Yep.
That's how you finish up.
Which is everything Bears fans needed to know about Cutler, right?
Exactly.
Because even if the defense was leading that team, Cutler was enough to help you get to the playoffs or be on that course.
2012, 7-1. And then you finish 10-6.
Yeah.
You fire Lovie Smith, and I think you and I were both on the same wavelength.
It's time to change.
Yeah, you had 8-9 years under Lovie Smith. It was fine and oftentimes good, but unfortunately, more often than not, mediocre.
It was
make a move.
No football in January.
Exactly, and that was the biggest problem. And while the Packers were doing their thing, and as long as you have a rival or someone in your division that's a template of how to succeed, I understand why they went the Mark Trestman route. It was off the wall, kind of kooky. You wish you would have went with Bruce Arians, and things might be a lot better right now.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot better. And then you have Trestman, and then you have this. So that's 4 consecutive years. Well, 3 consecutive years of bad football. Oddly enough, Trestman was a game away from making the playoffs.
Carp, it's rare that I go more macro than you. There's a reason in our Kevin Fishbane song, I say, it's been since 1985. Can Bears fans in this organization
move on?
Stop living in that. My entire fandom of Bears, because I was born in 1987, has been a disappointing franchise. This is not a proud franchise anymore for at least fans our generation. It was fun to get to the Super Bowl, and I thought, Lovie Smith had things going. But ever since then, I mean, this has been an embarrassment of a franchise the last 5 years.
As a sports fan, it's a pretty dismal situation to be in if you're an Illinois and a Bears fan. And they have mirrored each other remarkably over the course of time.
And Illinois went and hired their former coach.
Well, and just think about this. I mean, 2001, you have Illinois make the Sugar Bowl. The Bears go 13-3. The luckiest 13-3 team I think NFL has ever seen.
2007. Rose Bowl.
Well, and the year before that, I guess January 2007 was the actual Super Bowl for the Bears. But then following up that 2001, when both teams are here in Champaign, there's something about this state, some stench that it emits that makes bad football at the highest level. And you had a 4-12 Bears team and a 5-7 Illinois team after making the Sugar Bowl right here at Memorial Stadium.
It all goes back to, and I think this is for most businesses, organizations, it goes to the top. And I think Illinois has the right guy at the top when I'm talking about Josh Whitman.
Yeah.
The Bears with the McCaskey family. I think it all starts with them and who they hire to run their organizations. Now, you can look back. Now, Ryan Pace is obviously the GM. He was part of the Saints organization that doesn't look too good right now. Outside of the Bears, the Saints are the leader for not having the least amount of players on their roster that they actually drafted. That's the guy running your organization. So there's some issues there. We'll see how good Ryan Pace actually is in a year or two, I think.
It's still an incomplete grade, but the early results are not promising.
It all goes back to leadership.
Yeah.
And if you have a direction, you have an identity, and you have people who can hire good people. And I think Josh Whitman made a good hire for Illinois with Lovie Smith. we'll see. I think John Fox was kind of like a Lovie Smith hire that gives you stability, but they got to get talent into this organization now, just like Illinois has to get talent into their program.
But it's not as if post-85 the Bears all of a sudden became bad. If you really look before 1980, the 70s especially, when they were still playing over at Wrigley Field, and the late 60s, those were not good teams.
Right.
I mean, historically, this has not really been a great franchise. It just happens to be
It wasn't the 40s and 80s.
Right, which that's great. So I guess the
50s maybe.
The 2020s are going to be excellent if you're a Bears fan at that rate. But yeah, it's just something where there's never been consistency. There's never been, I'll put it this way though, there's this conception, or perception, I should say, of fans that the Bears means running the ball and great defense and all those sorts of things. This sort of archaic idea of, this is what the Bears should be about. And I think oftentimes when you build this sort of myth around a team and what it should be and this Bears mythos, I think it's actually hurt. I think in a way, instead of just kind of being a team that sets the trend, the Bears have always been reactive to the trends in the NFL. They've never been the ones to set it.
Listen, I like John Fox's kind of old, just like with what Garrick McGee eventually wants to do at Illinois, I like traditional running the football, stopping the run. The Bears tried the opposite with Mark Trestman, right?
Yeah.
But you got to have the right talent. And that's been one of the key issues, is having the right GM who can find the right talent. And I know a lot of focus today is on Jay Cutler finding another quarterback. I get it. I get it. I'm tired of the Jay Cutler experience. I've always thought that he wasn't the main problem, but I think he's not the solution. And it's probably the same discussion we're having about Wes Lunt. I don't think Wes Lunt is the main problem of Illinois football. I think he and Cutler can both be successful with teams who run the football and play defense, and then you have a big arm quarterback who could do the rest and make the plays you need.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're the solution for their organizations right now either. So I'm ready for Jay Cutler to be gone. I'm ready for a different quarterback. They didn't draft another quarterback. They haven't drafted another quarterback. You don't waste picks on a quarterback just to have a different one.
Right.
But at some point, you got to find one, right? That's what the Patriots have done. They draft Garoppolo, even though they have Tom Brady. They draft Jacoby Brissett, even though they have Garoppolo. You got to find another guy. And right now, you can't even watch a quarterback that's going to be a part of your future. So it's kind of like, what's the point? For me, it gets to that point. Like I get to every Bears season, it seems like I'd rather have them lose.
Yeah.
I'd rather have them tank for the rest of the year so that I have a shot at Deshaun Watson, or that I have a shot at Deshaun Kaiser, so we can get to the next era of football, because that's what the Eagles fans have right now, right? They went out and got their guy, and I got to tell you, Austin Berkland, Carson Wentz looked really good last night. I'm happy for you. I said it on the air yesterday. I hope it comes back down to earth so the Bears win a game and that maybe Carson Wentz isn't all that good. I am jealous that you have a guy like Carson Wentz, Austin. He looked really good.
I love everything about what Carson Wentz does, except he needs to slide. Because he needs to save his body for 10 years down the road.
No RG3ing anymore.
But what he did, his pre-snap reads, if you took a prisoner who was an NFL expert and you said, hey, just watch the all-22 film of him and tell me how long he's been in the league, he would probably say 5, maybe 6 years in the league with what he was doing at the snap, reading blitzes and everything like that. And he's yet to make the bad mistake, which I really, really enjoy.
Which is typical of rookies, right?
I know he's taken a lot of short passes. He's 12 for 21 with 94 yards, passes 1 to 10 yards. But, I mean, the way he just gets into the offense is just so impressive.
Now watch out, because Carp's going to call you John Gruden here for a second.
You see, but at least it's okay if Austin does that because he's an Eagles fan. No, last night I was just having some fun on Twitter because it was a bit relentless, the Wentz love fest.
That was the storyline of the night, right? That Carson Wentz is the new star quarterback.
It was established from the outset, but Wentz lived up to it on Monday night.
He looked good,
man. Granted, the caution would be we are 2 games in against the Browns and the Bears, but there is a certain moxie, to borrow a term from John Gruden, and a certain presence that he has that you cannot, whatever intangibles separate the really good quarterbacks from the guys like Jay Cutler.
Or like we talk about with Wes Lunt, like he steps into throws when pressure's right in his face.
Oh, yeah.
That takes guts, right, to do that kind of thing, and that does inspire your teammates, and I think Wes Lunt struggles with that a little bit, but also he just makes throws into buckets. And Jordan Matthews missed one last night. But, I mean, he's had those throws. Like, he's smart enough to take it when you need it, but he's also good enough, Austin, to put him in places that most people can't.
Yeah, it is one thing that's impressive about him is that he can throw a dime whenever he has to. And I really, really love the fact that he knows exactly which receiver to go to and when. He doesn't just force one to the tight end because that's what his first read is.
Right.
He goes through his progressions really, really well for being a rookie.
Yeah, he was impressive. I'm happy for you, Austin.
Yeah.
You guys are 2-0.
It's about dang time. It is about time. After going through Bradford, Foles.
Yeah, you guys did have a rough stretch there.
You know what, though? That whoole Bradford thing worked out for everybody.
It did.
Except the Cleveland Browns,
and you know
who
why?
passed up on Carson Wentz.
And you know why? The Eagles, with Howie Roseman, killed the quarterback situation with a sledgehammer. They got 3 quarterbacks right away. That way so they had options instead of just being like, well, we have Bradford and then who else? The 4th round pick. So I love what Howie Roseman did by getting 3 quarterbacks so you could have these different options.
Yeah, he's impressive. Thanks, Austin. Happy for you that you have an NFL team to watch the rest of the fall.
And we technically have one to watch, but the question is, do we want to?
I won't actively. I might have it on.
I won't either.
I might have it on.
But it is frustrating. Real quick to the Cutler point, because I think this may be it. If he doesn't return this season, doesn't return for a sizable chunk of it, I would eventually just kind of move on. And I think the organization wouldn't mind that either. But I'm not going to look back on Cutler as a symbol of Bears mediocrity. He was never, and you mentioned it perfectly, he was never the solution, but he was, I don't think, ever the main problem.
Yeah.
And the teams that the Bears finished 10-6 or 11-5 with Cutler, well, look at those rosters. Those were 10-6, 11-5 teams. I think more often than not, when Cutler was at the helm, the team played to what they were.
Yeah.
And they didn't exceed it, and he didn't necessarily get you over that hump.
Exactly, which is what you need out of a franchise quarterback.
Yes, if we're talking franchise, because I know
if
franchise
we're talking about 10 to 12 guys who you think can lead you to a Super Bowl or win you a Super Bowl or win you games, like overachieve your team, kind of like you're saying. Cutler wasn't one of those guys.
No, and the intense dislike, I don't get. Now, hey, was I...
The body language thing, I don't care about.
I don't care.
Because I heard Matt Forte on the Rich Eisen show. I liked Jay Cutler. He goes, I liked playing with him. You know, most of his teammates, you know, they'll leave the organization and then bag on Cutler, but within the organization, it always seemed like this guy works hard, he studies a lot, but he's just not one of those guys who's going to be rah-rah and go out of his way to portray that he's rah-rah.
Yes.
And that's really hurt him publicly.
Which I kind of like, but you know me. I like the anti-hero. But he never made those cutesy commercials, and I doubt he's going to make one after he retires that we can watch every single freaking ad break during the entire NFL season like Peyton did.
Yeah, certain guys go out of their way to make sure that they're viewed in a certain way. But like Tom Brady, he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't do that, but you know what he does? Like
Marries Giselle.
He's got the respect of all his teammates.
Yeah.
And he's just great. He's a great guy. He's a great quarterback, one of the best we've ever seen. Jay's just not to that level. He's got the talent, but he just doesn't have that toughness or that next level decision making that Tom Brady.
And you wonder if the comparisons or the terms of elite and franchise, if those never would have been thrown out in the first place, and we just judge him based on his play.
It's the best quarterback the Bears have ever had.
Yeah, it's not close. No, it's not close at all.
Not.
And Brian Hoyer is not going to change your mind on that.
No, I don't think so. So who's going to have a higher winning percentage at the end of our season? That's what we're going to have as our poll question. Illinois or the Bears? Who has a higher winning percentage at the end of the season? We'll talk about that throughout the rest of the show. If you want to weigh in, you can. You can call us on the Jupiter's Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. That's 359-2255. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. Download the WSJK app. Get the podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us in iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. You're at our intern and producer, Austin Berkland. Well, coming up next, we'll talk with Chris Emma, 670 The Score, about the Bears. Also, in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll talk with Chris Raby, KMOX.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance, finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When you need hit music, you need Champaign-Urbana's hit music station. All the hits, Q96, where they start every workday with a Q96-minute music marathon. A proud sister station to ESPN Radio 93.5.
Heating, cooling, or plumbing problems in your home or business? Why call and coordinate multiple contractors when you can make just one call? Matix Service has over 22 years of experience in heating, cooling, and plumbing. Matix offers high-efficiency train equipment that is reliable. And Matix provides 24/7 service calls at regular service rates. Visit mattexservice.com. It's hard to stop a train.
There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no better place to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Every cut of beef brisket, pork shoulder, turkey breast, pork loin, and chicken are carefully selected and rubbed with a signature spice blend, infused with hickory smoke for juicy, award-winning flavor. For Illini fans, it's served up right in Memorial Stadium and the upper concourse in the State Farm Center on game days. How about a smoked hammer turkey for your family get-together, or a taste as big as Texas for lunch, dinner, or to watch the big game? You're guaranteed to be the fan favorite. HickoryRiver.com or in Decatur, Springfield, Urbana, and Peoria.
There's a time for work, there's a time for play. There's a time to do things you don't do every day. There's a place to go for tools and machines, and people with knowledge about these things. We've been here since 53 to meet your rental needs. When the time comes, we're the place for everything. Rental City.
Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com.
Whether you're looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle, you can count on the winning team at Sullivan Park Hill. Check out the all-star lineup of Cadillac and Chevrolet cars, trucks, and SUVs. Score big with Sullivan Park Hill's exclusive Q-certified 100,000-mile warranty. Let's drive home a winner in your new vehicle today. For the best in sales, service, and collision repair, it's Sullivan Park Hill, off I-74 between Neal and Prospect, Champaign.
Sullivan Park Hill, let's drive!
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
I'm Austin Berglund. This is your 3:30 Sports Center update. Last night, the Bears couldn't get the offense going as they fell to the Philadelphia Eagles 29-14, having only 64 yards rushing. Carson Wentz of the Eagles threw for a touchdown, and Bears wideout Eddie Royal sent a punt return back for a touchdown. Injuries were the story of the Bears last night, having 5 players injured, including quarterback Jay Cutler and linebacker Lamar Houston. Ian Rappaport of NFL.com is reporting that Cutler's thumb injury could be a lengthy absence, even though it will not need surgery. Houston injured his knee and is out for the season with a torn ACL. The NL wildcard race heated up in a big way last night. The Giants fell to the Dodgers last night on a walk-off by Adrian Gonzalez, and the Cardinals defeated the Rockies 5-3. The Cardinals and Giants are now tied for the second wildcard spot. The Birds on the Bat hope to take sole possession of it tonight when they take on the Rockies at Coors Field. Righty vet Adam Wainwright takes on Rockies left Jorge De La Rosa. You can hear the game on this station, ESPN CU 93.5. Pregame starts at 6:40. The Cubs have a new magic number, and it's for the best record in the NL. It's currently at 5 after the Cubs defeated the Reds 4-2 last night. The Northsiders trailed early on 2-0, but Russell and Contreras each hit bombs in the 7th inning to tie the game, and then Fowler hit the game-winning RBI single in that same inning. Cubs host the Reds tonight, and it's John Lester on the mound of the Cubbies, who is second in the NL ERA race. The Reds turn to Jake Thompson, who is making his first start of the season. Hear the game on our sister station, Sunny 95.3 at 7:05. The White Sox fell to the Royals last night 8-6. Carlos Rodon was shelved, giving up 8 hits and 6 runs in 4 innings. They take on the Phillies tonight to start a 2-game series. James Shields for the Sox and Jake Thompson for the Bills. And that is the Sports Center update.
Thank you, Austin. Join ESPN 93.5 live on location along with the Ryan Dallas team with Keller Williams Realty for the Showcase Parade of Homes on Saturday, September 24th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll be live at 1419 Jacobs Boulevard inside the Jacobs Landing subdivision. Join us and learn more as you chat with director of the showcase, the Ryan Dallas team, and the builder. Plus, you might win a prize for just stopping by, like coupons for free food, free showcase parade of homes tickets, and more. So join us and the Ryan Dallas team with Keller Williams Realty Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Jacobs Landing with ESPN Radio 93.5. Get more details on the showcase at the community calendar at ESPNCU.com.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lon Tay with Jeremy Warner. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hours, Jeremy, you got to dip out at 5:40. So we're going to do an edition of Mike's Mike.
Nice.
Hashtag Mike's Mike. So tweet questions or text them, actually. The Cheap Hour text line, 359-2255. That's 359-2255.
Two of the more interesting people in my life are Lon Tay, which is why we do Tay's Take.
Naturally.
And Mike Carpenter.
Yes. Can this be sponsored by DP Dough? Or?
Sure.
Now, there is likely no show tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah, because we got Cardinals. Rockies starts at 2:10.
Yeah.
So the game usually lasts 3 hours. Post game's usually like 45 minutes. So probably no Tay and J show tomorrow.
We could ask Chris Raby to forego his post game show, but that's kind of his job.
That's kind of his thing to do. And he's going to join us at 5:25. We'll talk a little bit about the Cardinals. Not dead yet. In fact, they're at the second wild card spot. I keep saying they're probably going to lose 4 in a row again before the end of the season, but then they'll win 4 or 5 in a row and stay in this thing. We're going to talk a little bit Cubs here, but mostly Bears after that embarrassing loss last night on Monday Night Football. Let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Don't forget, Tuesdays get half off large pizzas all day at Jupiter's The Crossing. He's Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. Is football season over in the state of Illinois, Chris?
It sure feels like it around Chicago today. It's a lot of doom and gloom after a disappointing Monday Night Football game because entering last night, the Bears felt like they had a chance to get in the win column, beat a quality team in the Eagles, get a little something positive brewing, and playing poorly on the field that's the least of their concerns after what happened last night.
You know, Chris, it seems to me that watching the Texans game and then really even portions of last night that at times the Bears legitimately look like the better team on the field. And that might be crazy to say after the manner in which they lost last night. But is it maybe a case of a team where the talent isn't all that bad and yet the margin for error is so small and then we see things kind of crumble like we did last night in the second half?
No, you're exactly right with that assessment because the Bears do have good talent at the top line, but the problem is that they have little talent in terms of depth. I mean, they don't have any organizational depth because of years and years of failed drafts and failing to solidify a roster, the bottom part of a roster. I mean, Ryan Pace has done an admirable job in bringing in players like Danny Trevathan, who's now hurt, of course, and Terrell Freeman and Akeem Hicks. And, of course, you have some talent in Alshon Jeffrey and Kevin White. And you hope you can find something in Jeremy Langford. But the Bears have some good players at the skill position. But when you lose somebody like a Trevathan, then you get a Jonathan Anderson stepping up, and that's not somebody you want stepping into a starting role. That's just an example. I mean, you lose Adrian Amos last night, who was a fairly good player in his rookie season. If he's not ready for Sunday after a short week to recover from a concussion, you're putting either Chris Brzezinski or DeAndre Houston Carson back there in the secondary. Sheriff McManus is your next man up for Bryce Callahan, who was a nice little addition last year as an undrafted free agent. But McManus is not somebody you want in that nickel spot. He's a special teams guy at the best. So when you take some of these starters out of their starting roles because of injuries or anything else, then you're really asking for big, big things out of below replacement level players.
I know Jay Cutler is the hot take subject today, and we'll get to him, Chris. But who do the Bears miss the most on offense? Matt Forte, Brandon Marshall, or Adam Gaze?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Forte, he's looked pretty good so far, but he's also gotten a good bulk of carries in New York. I don't know if anybody's going to be succeeding with the way the offensive line has been playing as far as that backfield goes because they've tried Jeremy Langford hasn't gotten anything going in his first 2 games as the full-time starter. Kadeem Carey hasn't answered anything else. Jordan Howard looked good in spurts last night, but that's about it. Brandon Marshall, he's missed, of course. I mean, you'd love to have that guy, but the problem is that it was everything aside from football. His personality and his, everything away from the field, it caught up to him to the point where the Bears could not have him around. So, ideally you'd like to have a choir boy Brandon Marshall making an impact for you, but the shenanigans and everything that went with Brandon Marshall, that ran him out of town, as it has in several other spots before Chicago. Adam Gase is looking like he's missed right now, and I was one of the people saying that Dow Loggins was the natural fit and the person they should have hired as the replacement for Gase. But I have some serious questions right now about Loggins' ability to call a game. He's the perfect fit as far as a quarterback's coach for Jay Cutler, but you wonder if maybe he might be a little in over his head. It's very early after 2 games to question that, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Loggins offense can evolve with those Gase concepts. Adam Gase is a terrific offensive mind, and I think he's going to be a great head coach in Miami. I think he's an excellent offensive coordinator. He's definitely missed as well because Doc Loggins hasn't been that bridge to something new.
You know, to the point of Loggins as a play caller, Chris, if you look back at last night and the drive where the Bears did score that touchdown, I think that was the drive where Cutler had 4 passes for a combined 75 yards or something like that. In other words, not to call it dumb luck, the one touchdown they got yesterday, but other than that, it seemed like none of those possessions had any actual rhythm going to it.
Yeah, that's right. You can look at that deep ball, the 49 yards from Cutler to Alshon Jeffrey, similarly to that deep ball that they had to Jeffrey in Week 1, and that was the catapult for the scoring drive. They haven't had any kind of rhythm on offense, and that's where you look at the running game and think, what's going on here, guys? Because you need Langford to be that guy who can help you kind of bridge yourself to a first down and extend drives. They haven't been able to establish that staple at best with Carey and Jordan Howard as well because they haven't been able to get any kind of run game going. They haven't been able to get any kind of offense going. This offense, guys, looks completely out of sync right now. And that's the biggest issue is that you don't feel confident at all about their ability to drive the field and to make something happen. But they're just looking for, I think, one of the better receivers in all of football, in Alshon Jeffrey, and hoping he can go up and make a play. Heck, you saw that later in the game, too, when it was Brian Hoyer in desperation time. They were drawing up deep balls to Alshon every play they could. So, you have some playmakers on this with Alshon and Kevin White. Zach Miller, ideally, you have something good at tight end. Eddie Royal's been pretty good so far in these first 2 games. You got to figure out this run game as well and find a way to balance the run with the pass.
He's Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. Follow him on Twitter at CEmma670. It's only a year and, 18 games into the John Fox and really Ryan Pace tenures. Is it okay to start having some doubts creep in with Ryan Pace and where this thing is going? Because I didn't have huge expectations, Chris, but I did expect some incremental improvements going forward, and we certainly haven't seen that in the first 2 games here.
I think I go as far as to say the honeymoon's over. I'm not going to go ahead and put all doubts yet because it's probably a 3-year plan. Pace needs 3 years to get his guys into place, and by that I mean start replenishing the organization from bad drafts of Phil Emery and so many missed picks have resulted in cuts and bringing in replacement level players to hope he can get something better. I mean, if you go down this roster, there's still a lot of guys who probably would be on a lot of other NFL rosters that are, heck, even some playing key roles for this team. Ryan Pace needs another year to get his players into place, start hitting on some draft picks because the draft is the lifeblood of any organization, and the Bears have not been able to do that well in recent years before Pace got in. Pace has done a good job as far as identifying young players who can fit what they want to do, who fit that John Fox style of play and what John Fox wants. I think right now you can question what's up with the Dow Loggins offense, why the Vic Fangio defense is wearing out in the second half. I mean, the Bears have been outscored 33-0 in the second half. It's not including the Eddie Royal return last night. So there are reasons to doubt and there are reasons to question why this thing isn't working out. But when you're looking at the big picture, you can't really assess what Ryan Pace and Don Fox will do until next year, in my opinion. I think you get one more free pass in this year, and then next year is when you really start judging things.
Yep. Chris Emma from 670thescore.com, on Twitter at CEmma670. And Chris, with John Fox, when he arrived, I was excited just because he had a pedigree in the NFL. Unlike Trestman, you kind of knew what you were getting, for better and for worse. And there hasn't really been a ton of rebuilding projects, or at least he's always seemed to hit in year 2. That's not going to happen this year. The reaction up in Chicago in general actually kind of seemed tepid from the start. How do you interpret kind of his relationship with the Chicago fan base? Because it seems like there's more apathy that probably set in with Trestman that he hasn't really been able to turn.
There's definitely apathy in Chicago because I think you just have to start by looking at some of the pieces on this roster. And I mentioned, you got that talent at the top, and it's a better team as far as the starting positions from last year where, for example, you placed Shea McClellan and Christian Jones with Jarrell Freeman and Danny Trevathan. You expect moves like that should have made this team a lot better. Obviously, 0-2 is 0-2, the same as it was last year to start the season. The apathy won't leave until things start really feeling real with this team, because it's going to take one more draft. It's going to take Ryan Pace finding his fits and seeing what John Fox can do in terms of coaching up some of these young players from Pace's first 2 drafts. Right now, people are just kind of resigned to the fact that this is a young team that's really lacking a lot of talent overall throughout the depth chart, and just a lot of pieces that need to improve throughout the roster. John Fox doesn't really have much of a relationship at all with the city of Chicago, with the fan base, even with the media to an extent. There's not a lot of answers that are going to come from the Bears, because Fox doesn't communicate anything through, the voices of the media. He's not out there inspiring hope or confidence in any form, which is different from the constant, dissertations from Mark Trestman and Phil Emery. And then Ryan Pace is almost non-existent in terms of a public appearance throughout the entire regular season. So the Bears don't try to convey anything other than the results, and the results aren't good.
Yep.
The apathy is just going to keep on continuing throughout the regular season and into next season until the fans in the city and everybody who follows the Bears have proven otherwise.
Sounds like Jay Cutler could be out a while, and he's the hot topic today. I heard national media talking about his physical toughness and things like that. For me, the question is this, Chris. Carp and I talked about this, that Jay Cutler, I don't know if he's the problem for the Bears, but he's definitely not the solution. So what is the timeline with Jay Cutler? Because he's got a deal that isn't ridiculous for a starting quarterback that has his kind of talent, and the drop-off on the Bears roster, I think, is pretty sizable, but they're probably going to have a high pick here. So what is the future of Jay Cutler? Could he be the guy for another year or two, or are we looking at Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Kaiser? I'm already looking at him, at least. Are we looking at that next year for the Bears? Because you got a coaching staff that in year 3, I don't know if they'll want to go to a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, the narrative machine is, of course, spinning and churning away right now with the Jay Cutler stuff. And, you can't question the guy's toughness, but you can certainly question his abilities and what he means for the Bears looking long term. This is the final year of guaranteed money in a 7-year deal. He was guaranteed for the first 3 seasons, which means they can cut him loose and there's no penalty. He's paid up as far as the guarantees go. The Bears can let Jay Cutler go after the season and find a new direction. Now, that's a risk to take, of course. And I know Jay Cutler is not the elite quarterback that people thought he was going to be coming through to Denver, and then when he got traded to Chicago. But this is what Jay Cutler is. I mean, we understand what he's going to be, and ideally that's an efficient quarterback with receivers he can hopefully get the ball to deep downfield. He's got that rocket arm, but he's also going to make a ton of mistakes. There's going to be miscues. The offense is going to be inconsistent. We've seen this movie from Jay Cutler year in and year out. So the Bears, we're hoping that they won't be in position where they can get that new quarterback. And by that, I mean, they don't want to be drafting high. It looks like the Bears are going to be drafting high this season and in position to get that next guy. So let's say the Bears do have a season less than the 6-10 of last year. That's being generous. I think the Bears would take 6-10 after what we've seen from these first 2 weeks. That means you're going to win 6 games out of this thing. The Bears are looking at a position now where they're going to be right there to get one of those guys, whether it's Watson, whether it's Kaiser, and I love both of those guys. I'd take either one of them for my roster. The Bears could look at getting rid of Cutler, finding whether it's a veteran complement to that new quarterback, and then drafting somebody high. I don't think the Bears ever expected that they'd be drafting that high, but I guess it's looking like a strong consideration right now. I think I saw from our CBSChicago.com that the Bears have a higher percentage chance of the number 1 pick than making the playoffs. So if the Bears are drafting well up there in the top 10, then yeah, you're probably looking at getting rid of Jay Cutler, cutting him loose after that guaranteed money is done, and then finding that new direction at quarterback. And we've seen from Ryan Pace, he's not afraid to get rid of those veteran players who he inherited coming in after Phil Emery and bringing in his own guys. So this would be the ultimate step for Ryan Pace to find his new direction. The
Bears' best friend is the Cubs right now because they're going to get the focus into October and all that. Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. Follow him on Twitter at CMA670. Always appreciate your time, Chris.
Always good catching up.
All right, thanks, Chris. Good stuff. When we come back, let's talk about our poll question.
Okay.
Higher football winning percentage in 2016, the Bears or the Illini?
I had to pull my own last night. I'll dig up those results.
There you go.
I did a combined over-under. I might have been kind of generous, too, with the win total, but I guess.
I'm interested to hear what the number is.
All right, it is the Tay and J Show.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Tuesdays can't get any respect. Every week it's, I can't believe it's only Tuesday. No one ever asks, how was your Tuesday? But now there is something exciting about Tuesday. The Tune-Up Tuesday sale at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Get an extra $10 off their lowest sale price on a precision tune-up. That means you'll get a $120 tune-up for only $69 when you book online today at chiefbauer.com. The Tune-Up Tuesday sale at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Take that, Saturday.
DP Dough is the original calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original calzone company.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
None of us can predict the future, but that doesn't mean we can't prepare for it. How will your family survive when you're gone? And how do you know if you have enough life insurance? Beacon Insurance makes it easy with their convenient life insurance calculator. Visit www.beaconinsurance.com/life calculator. Then talk to your local independent Beacon Insurance agency about a life insurance policy that will give you peace of mind and keep your family financially stable in the future. Life insurance from Beacon Insurance always goes beyond the expected.
It's Tay and J's College Game Day, and it's back thanks to JSM, the Champaign Center Partnership, Honda BMW of Champaign, Game Day Spirit, Chief Bauer, Busey Bank, and DP Dough.
Are you ready for some football?
We are, and we'll be getting you geared up for every Illinois football home game this season with Tay and J's College Game Day.
It's Jeremy and I, you the fans, Illini coaches, and some very special guests live each Friday before every home football game in the 600 block of Green Street.
With ESPN 93.5.
From the first kiss to the first dance to the first meal, your wedding day is full of firsts. And the first call you need to make when planning your wedding day is to Dish Passionate Cuisine. From the room to the dance floor to a totally custom menu, our brides brag about the wonderful experiences they've had with Dish Passionate Cuisine. Visit dishpassionatecuisine.com to get more information or schedule an appointment. Trust me, if you call us first, you won't have to call anyone else. Visit dishpassionatecuisine.com or find us on Facebook.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
This segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by MyBookie.lv. Check out the odds. Get in on the action at MyBookie.lv or call at 844-722-BETS.
It is the Tay and J Show, and speaking of betting, I put up a...
You nailed that transition.
Thanks.
I was hoping you'd go there.
Thanks. Speaking of betting, I put a little poll on. We're going to get to the Tay and J poll here in a second, but both of these polls have something to do with Illinois football and Bears football and combined wins. Or not combined wins, but just how much more can we expect this season. So last night on Twitter, I put this up and got 200 votes, combined wins for Illinois/Bears football teams. I set the over-under at 8.5. What would you say?
Oh, that's the number I'd go with. because I still think the Bears will eke out 4 or 5. Because, I mean, it's an NFL team. I know today people probably think, it's going to win 2 or 3, but I still think Illinois will win 3 at least.
Okay.
7.5 might be interesting too. I'd side on the under.
You and 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, it's easy to be really negative right now.
Yeah.
But Illinois is going to be favored in 1 game.
Yeah, and I want
the
to
rest of the year.
Yeah, and I want to try to not overreact about 2 games for Illinois football, but my God,
But
that.
they're 5 games in and they only have 1 win.
Yeah.
And really, it shouldn't
doesn't count.
Right?
You're really winless.
So the Bears, especially without Cutler now, I mean, are they going to win a game with Hoyer in there? Their defense isn't good enough for that.
They could beat Dallas. I know that sounds crazy, but they could.
And that's the thing. It's an NFL team, so
Yeah.
I think they'll figure out 4 or 5 wins. But Illinois, I'd probably take the closer to 4, and Illinois I'd probably take closer to 3 than 4 at this point, right? Based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen from these 2 teams.
Well, based on what we've seen from Illinois, they're going 2-10.
Maybe.
But I'm right, you're right, maybe. But I have to go under the assumption, and I need to kind of caution myself because I always err on the side with Illinois football more than anything. I always err on the side of, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Which nothing in my life has indicated to me that Illinois football will figure it out.
It'll be interesting to see how much better the staff can get this team over the next couple
weeks.
And that's
it. And you know what? If you gave me a November with Purdue, Rutgers, Minnesota, and Northwestern, I think you'd have something.
But it's October.
But you don't. You aren't going to be exponentially better when you're at Rutgers October 15th as you might be in November when maybe guys start to figure things out.
It's a month from now, though. You should have enough time to figure out who you are, what you need to fix.
But if it is one of those things, and we even saw with Lovie Smith's first year with the Bears, they went 5-11, but as that season went on, they became much, much better.
Yeah.
And you could kind of tell that they were better than their record by the time that season ended. I hope to have the same feeling with Illinois football, that even if they were 4-8, you see signs of improvement. Because now, let's be honest, we've recalibrated our expectations. This notion of 5-7, which was kind of what I anticipated this team would be.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking that back a couple wins. We're saying 3-9, 2-10.
Vegas might have had the over/under right.
I think they did.
Yeah, at 4.5, or was it 3.5 at one point?
And you know what? It was so easy to get caught in that trap of just look at last year's results. You're 5-7. You did lose guys, but you had enough returning where you thought you could maybe overcome that. Oh, and the coaching staff, how many wins do they account for? And we're seeing that, on one hand, I don't want to let Lovie Smith and that coaching staff off the hook.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, how accountable can I hold them when these aren't their guys?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's the first-year thing, and that's why I was so scared of Western Michigan, because they were in their 4th year. Higher football winning percentage is the poll question at Tay and J Show on Twitter. The Illini or Bears? What are you thinking, Cart, before I get to the results so far?
I think the Bears will be 5-11. Because honestly, that defense isn't that terrible.
No.
But they are hurt.
Yeah.
I'm going 4-12 for the Bears. So that means what, a 25% winning percentage,
Yeah.
which means will Illinois finish better than 3-9? I don't know why I think this. I think Illinois gets to 4-8.
Okay. I think the Bears will have a higher winning percentage this year than Illinois.
And you probably don't think the Bears are going to have that high of a winning percentage.
No, I think they'll get to 5. I think they'll get to 5, and I think the Illini will get to 3.
I mean, the funny thing is, I'm not even a Cubs fan, but I just kind of need that diversion.
And 5-11 is a slightly higher winning percentage than 3-9.
I need that October diversion now. And the funny thing is, you know, I cannot play the woe is me thing with sports.
Yeah.
I had a good run. I had a really good run. But really,
because you had the Bulls and you had the Yankees.
Yeah. But since the Yankees won in 2009, I mean, it's been crap. A lot of crap out there. I guess the Bears almost made the Super Bowl in 2010. But other than that, Illinois football, no winning seasons. Illinois basketball, 1 NCAA tournament win.
All right, I'm going to have you guys. Jay Cutler is a topic today. Let's go down some of the quarterbacks in his little spot, you know, because he's 15 through 25, probably 15 through 20 in quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to ask you guys, would you rather have Jay Cutler for the next 2 years or this guy?
Okay.
Austin, I'm bringing you on. Austin Berkland, our producer.
Okay.
All right. Jay Cutler or Tyrod Taylor?
For the next, should
2
we say
years.
3
years? Year and a half, they're assuming they're healthy.
Who? Jay Cutler.
Tyrod Taylor due to his mobility.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but
might as well take a
mobile,
shot.
right?
Might as well take a shot, see what you got with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that's true.
Jay Cutler or Dak Prescott?
I know he's looked pretty solid. If we're talking long-term Dak Prescott. But
it's just the next 2 years.
And how good's the rest of the team? Are we a playoff caliber team, and we're picking a quarterback to go the next 2 years?
I'll give you the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're the Jaguars. You need a quarterback.
Give me Jay Cutler over Dak Prescott.
Yeah, for now. I agree.
Jay Cutler or Trevor Siemian?
Jay Cutler.
I'm biased, though. Come on. Trevor Siemian's an NFL quarterback.
Jay Cutler or Brock Osweiler?
This is where I think me and Austin differ. I would still take Cutler. I don't believe in Osweiler.
I would definitely go with Osweiler. What I've seen with him in the past couple of years, I think he can squeak that along and get better in the next 2 years.
Jay Cutler or Alex Smith?
This is tough. I mean, Alex Smith wins.
I'm going with Alex Smith. He's
I am
the
too.
ultimate game manager in the NFL.
I think you know what you're getting out of Alex Smith. Even though Jay Cutler's got a higher ceiling, you haven't seen it very much. You've seen the ceiling of Smith, and it can get you to the playoffs.
It's a risk-averse league.
Yep.
And I'm taking Alex Smith.
Jay Cutler or Blake Bortles?
Bortles, I think.
Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay Cutler.
If only for his wife.
Jay Cutler or Ryan Tannehill?
Oh, that's tricky. Because Tannehill, I think, is sort of Jay Cutler.
I think he is.
Tannehill is Jay Cutler Jr.
So I'm going Jay Cutler. Just more experience under his belt.
Jay Cutler or Sam Bradford?
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
Wow. I'm going Bradford there.
Yeah?
I think I am.
Jay Cutler is injury prone, but Sam Bradford is very injury
That's true.
prone.
I just think I can trust Sam Bradford a little bit more.
His face bothers me. It's a little funky.
After experiencing him, there's no way I want Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've experienced Jay Cutler.
Yeah, it's true. For years.
Jay Cutler or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Jimmy G. I'm on the train, baby.
Jimmy Garoppolo by a hair.
Would you
by
give
his
up,
wonderful hair?
Carp,
his wonderful quick
would you
hair.
give up a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
If you're the Bears?
1 first-round pick.
So you give up this year's first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo?
No.
Yeah, I
Go
wouldn't
on, get your own guy.
Would you give up 2 second-round picks for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
I'd have to know about that shoulder, but it'd be interesting.
But again, you got so many guys out there for that potential number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So I'd take a flyer.
Right,
No, I'm getting my own guy.
Real quick, Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins? Or not Jimmy Garoppolo, Jay Cutler or Kirk Cousins?
I don't want to have to say what I'm going to say because Kirk Cousins is so white bread.
Like that?
He's so white bread and annoying.
Kirk Cousins been going downhill the past couple games.
I'd take Jay Cutler.
Yeah, Jay Cutler.
Okay, yeah. Can I stick with Jay, too?
Yes.
Good.
Hey, coming up next, we'll talk a little baseball. We'll also do the Big Ten power rankings. We'll give how we think Illinois stacks up with the rest of the Big Ten.
Do we have to?
And how we separate the West, the top of the West and top of the East. It's really difficult.
Prediction, Illinois will be somewhere in the double digits.
Oh.
Just a guess. It is the Tay and J Show.
Urbana, Champaign, St. Joe, Philo, Mahomet, wherever you're from, Addie's is your place to go for good food and great times. It's Addie's for signature sandwiches, Addie's for appetizers, Addie's for your favorite drinks. Enjoy homemade soups daily, and for atmosphere, it's Addie's Bar and Grill. With friends and 12 TVs, it's your new favorite spot. There's nothing else that compares with Addie's Bar and Grill at Stone Creek, just off Windsor Road in Urbana. Open to the public every day. Visit online at addies.net.
The last time we elected a president, only 57.5% of registered voters showed up. It's hard to get everyone to do anything. So when 93% of us all do something, well, that's something. Every week, 93% of Americans listen to the radio, and they're all voting with their wallets every time they make a purchase. If you run a business, let a radio campaign tell your story. See how at StevieJay.com. That's StevieJay.com, or by calling 367-1195.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW, and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drive GoLiveChampaign.com.
Register now for the 3rd annual River to Rail Ride on Saturday, September 24th. The scenic ride takes you from Middle Fork River Forest Preserve in Penfield to Kickapoo State Park. Choose from one of 3 routes, 15, 31, or 62 miles. For those who want to see more of the local countryside, there's a 47-mile gravel route, too. Registration is $35 until September 21st and $40 the day of. Barbecue lunch is included after the ride. The River to Rail Ride is a benefit ride for the Kickapoo Rail Trail. Register at ccfpd.org.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. Extremist writings are part of the evidence collected against the New York and New Jersey bomb suspect. 2 sources telling Fox News the writings include references to Osama bin Laden and American-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki,
who's really the father of this digital jihad. He was the first American targeted for death by the CIA and killed in a 2011 drone strike in Yemen. Al-Awlaki has been a source of inspiration to terrorists in a number of plots, including the terrorist who shot dead 49 at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando.
Fox's Catherine Herridge.
2 sources said the view among rank-and-file investigators in New York and New Jersey and at the federal level here in Washington is that the search is not over. The Republican chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee said today the investigation has not ruled out others.
The FBI confirms it conducted an assessment of Ahmad Rahami 2 years ago based on his father's concerns after a domestic incident, but found no ties to terrorism.
Anyone who cannot name our enemy is not fit to lead this country. Remember.
Donald Trump at a North Carolina rally saying radical Islamic terrorism must be defeated and that Hillary Clinton apparently thinks his supporters are a bigger threat. Clinton, holding a conference call with national security advisors, says steady leadership is needed to defeat terrorists. President Obama, in his final UN General Assembly speech, says global integration needs a course correction, but that better cooperation is needed, not a world divided along race and religion.
Today, a nation ringed by walls would only imprison itself.
And later at a summit on refugees, saying the world isn't as unified as it should be in pushing to stop the Syrian civil war. Meantime, 2 U.S. officials telling Fox News Russian warplanes are responsible for the bombing of an aid convoy outside Aleppo. Moscow denies Russian or Syrian involvement. The Dow up 9 points on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy. It's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
Life can be unpredictable. That's why you should take control of your family's future now with an estate plan bundle from LegalZoom. Not sure whether you need a last will or a living trust? LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in 48 states can help you decide which one's right for you without billing by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. Plus, updating your estate plan as your family and assets grow couldn't be easier. Enjoy your life. Use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
The U.S. Air Force just confirming one pilot has died after 2 ejected in the crash of a U-2 spy plane in California.
U-2 is part of the 9th Reconnaissance Wing based at Beale Air Force Base located 48 miles north of Sacramento. The crash occurred just outside the base in Sutter County, California, according to the Air Force. The U-2 is a high-altitude spy plane which routinely flies at 70,000 feet to take photos and intercept communications. Its pilots wear pressurized flight suits similar to astronauts.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. The family of an unarmed black man killed in a confrontation with police in Tulsa is demanding a murder charge against the officer.
How could he be reaching into the car if the window is up and there's blood on the glass?
Attorney Benjamin Crump representing Terrence Crutcher's family. But the mother-in-law of the white officer involved says Betty Shelby is grieving for the victim's family and thought she had to protect her own life. She's been on paid leave since the shooting. The Wells Fargo CEO apologizing at a Senate hearing for the bank's unauthorized account scandal. But he's still facing calls to resign, including from some lawmakers. One of the biggest celebrity marriages is about to be one of the biggest splits.
Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from Brad Pitt Monday, citing irreconcilable differences. And many are reacting with sadness.
Too bad that anybody has to get divorced. Maybe you should have stayed with Jennifer.
Saddened by this because I believe that, marriages are supposed to work and you just work it out. And so I'm pretty sad about it.
Brad has released a statement on his divorce filing from Angelina, asking the press to stay away from his children, saying, quote, "I am very saddened by this, but what matters most now is the well-being of our kids. I kindly ask the press to give them the space they deserve during this challenging time."
Fox Radio's Michelle Polino. They were married for 2 years, but together for 12. Jolie seeking custody of their 6 children with visitation rights for Pitt. And Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling or heating expert? It's that time of year where you might need both, but cooling right now. Call Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.org.
No. .biz. .com.
.ca.
There's another one. XYZ is like a new one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work out for them.
The more you know.
Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 65. Wednesday, sunny, clear, high 88, low of 63. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 88, low of 65. Summer hanging on in Champaign-Urbana right now. Sunny, clear, 92 in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show, hour number 2. Mike Carpenter with Lon. Tay not here. That was just reflex. Jeremy Warner alongside on what is, as you mentioned, summer hanging around. It's hot out, but I kind of like it, and I'm not going to complain because this will all be gone.
And it's going to turn to snow here, which, let's just bypass the fall at this point because football isn't really happening.
No. It's a shame, too. But the good news is now I have not only recalibrated my expectations for wins, I've recalibrated my expectations for what I'm going to do on my weekends, which is, who knows?
I got a free slate on these weekends.
I mean, we got in all likelihood, right? The next couple home games. Purdue, the time is not announced, but I think we can guess.
That's probably should be an 11 o'clock game.
Or it's going to be that 6:30, put it on Big Ten Network while there's a marquee matchup on ABC and no one cares about it. I'm preferring 11 just so I can go over there and watch it on TV in the lots. I don't want to go inside. I don't know if that makes me a bad fan, but I don't want to watch bad football.
I mean, they got to give you a product, right? Yeah. At some point, they got to give you a product. Saturday, October 15th against Rutgers is 11 a.m.
Hey.
Minnesota is an 11 a.m. Michigan's at 2:30.
Yeah, I will be at that game.
Michigan?
Yeah, the girlfriend got tickets for it. It's the day after my 30th.
I'll be there too. So,
okay.
Yeah, we can hang out in Ann Arbor.
I'm excited to experience that tailgating scene. I will ironically wear my Illinois gear. Which it's going to be nice because I'm not going to get crap because we are not threatening. If you were a threatening team, then you would be getting trash talk, I'm sure.
Did you hear Harbaugh's quote today from the Dan Patrick Show?
Did he put a subject and predicate together? Was he able to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
It was actually a very entertaining interview. Dan Patrick does a great job with those. But he was talking about this milk commercial he did. Like
he drinks a lot of milk.
Yeah, and he's sponsoring some, I think, local milk thing. And Dan said, Urban Meyer drinks 1% milk. And Jim Harbaugh's all about whole milk.
Yeah.
He goes, well,
of course he is.
We don't drink that candy ass milk in Michigan.
God. You know what? Is he trolling us all?
I don't know, but it's so entertaining.
It is.
I don't care what you think of him. He is so good for the Big Ten right now.
He really is. That Big Ten East. And then meanwhile, D'Antonio is just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah.
Quietly. He's the quiet one of the three. And the one that often gets forgotten about when you have two personalities like you do. And, well, it's kind of hard to say Urban Meyer has a ton of personality. He certainly has a presence about him.
Yes, a presence.
Jim Harbaugh has a personality, albeit a very awkward one.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have coaches of that caliber, who were we talking with yesterday about if the Big Ten is? Steve Greenberg.
Yeah.
If the Big Ten East specifically, best division in football, and I think right now you'd have to say yes.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do our Big Ten power rankings right now.
Okay.
And where Illinois ranks among the Big Ten programs. We'll get to it, but let's start with our number one.
I already played the football music,
okay.
So I'll just go with this if that's okay. Haven't played it in a while.
Who would be number one in your Big Ten power rankings? Does Michigan State jump all the way up? Do you still feel this is Harbaugh's year, or do you stick with the top dogs all along with Ohio State?
Top dog, man. The Bucks, number one with the bullet. until proven otherwise. Now, granted, I guess you could say last year they were proven otherwise when Michigan State sprung the upset.
They are Alabama. Like, it's Alabama and Ohio State, and everyone else is just trying to become them. Like, Urban Meyer has gotten Ohio State, and I know Ohio State was great, but he's gotten them to Alabama's level that no matter how many guys you lose to the NFL, there's that great a talent replacing it that you can withstand losing 16 starters. 16 starters, and they're still one of the top couple programs in all of college football. What Urban Meyer's done there is basically what Nick Saban's done at Alabama.
Number 2, Michigan State.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I participate in the Land of 10 poll, landof10.com poll, and I had Michigan there, but as I think about it this week, I should probably put Michigan State there because that was a ridiculous win they had against Notre Dame. They almost gave it up at the end, but still, I think there's a little bit more confidence because they've done it before. Their quarterback seems a little bit better than Michigan's quarterback.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one between Michigan and Michigan State. So I had Michigan 2, I had Michigan State 3, but you can interchange those two at this point, it feels like.
And the road for the Big Ten title goes through East Lansing this year. They host both Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, unbelievable. So number 4, are we getting to a West team yet?
We're just brushing over number 3. We know it's Michigan.
Yeah, it's Michigan, default. Michigan State.
Okay, number 4.
Are you putting Nebraska there? You putting Iowa there still, or Wisconsin?
I'll put Wisconsin there for now. Don't feel great about it. But while Nebraska has looked impressive, you got to see more. You know that they might easily revert to an 8-4 team, whereas Wisconsin last year 9-3, just kind of quietly. That's what they do now. Now, the schedule will definitely give us a lot of indications about this as we go along with Wisconsin, as they play Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, 1, 2, 3 in the Big Ten. We'll know very quickly.
I kind of want to keep Iowa there, but you can't, right?
Not after that. No.
I still think Iowa is the most complete team. But they lost to North Dakota State. But I have a lot of respect for what North Dakota State is. I agree with you. I'll keep Wisconsin there for now.
Don't feel great about it.
No, because their quarterback situation. Bart Houston, though he was great against Illinois last year.
He was. Him and the tight end.
Just lost his job. Just lost the job to, I think, a redshirt freshman. So I think Wisconsin's totally beatable. But after that LSU win, you got to put them there. So who do you put 5? You put Nebraska or Iowa? You buying Tommy Armstrong coming back? Or are you putting Iowa there thinking, oh, it's just an Iowa loss?
For this season, not looking at what last year really had to do with anything. And keep in mind that Nebraska-Iowa game was close last year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Most Iowa games were. I'm going Nebraska.
I am too.
You have the better quarterback, and not only that, as of now,
C.J. Beathard's really good.
He is. But in college, Tommy Armstrong's that wild card factor that Beathard is not.
I just think this is a progression to the mean for Nebraska. Yeah. Everything that could go wrong last year, they should have been probably an 8 or 9 win team, right? But they were a 5-win team because everything went wrong.
Yeah.
But they was 5 games or 3 or 4 games on the last
6
play,
or less,
like on the last play of the game. So I think this year they will get to that 9-win mark, and I think they are a legit threat to win the West over Iowa and Wisconsin because I don't think either of those teams is to the level of a Michigan or Michigan State.
It's not going to be in dominant fashion all the time, but you know what their offense is going to do. And their defense, they gave up, 35, I think, to Oregon, but most teams do.
Yep.
So they're just a well-rounded, top 20 caliber kind of team, and they'll be competing for that division.
So we'd have Iowa 6. Who do you put at 7 now? Minnesota?
No.
Penn State? Northwestern?
Penn State, I
guess.
Indiana? Is Indiana 3-0?
Yeah, they are. The only big win is Florida or something.
I'm going Penn State here based on talent.
I'm going Minnesota. Based on, I know what they are. I like their quarterback. McSorley's been really good for Penn State.
That's a great name. It's also a bar in New York City, McSorley's.
Yeah, I don't think Mitch Leidner's a first-round talent, but he is a good quarterback. And they run the football. They got a physical defense. I think I just know what Minnesota is. I just don't like Penn State's coaching staff. So,
I don't either.
So I think they'll underachieve at some point.
I don't like
in the
Penn
Big
State
Ten.
in general.
So I'll put Minnesota 7, Penn State 8. You agree with that?
I would flip them.
Okay.
I go Penn State, and then, just Minnesota. You look at it, you think how it will fall. This is not going to stay a 7-8 win team, and they didn't last year. They were pretty bad. I don't buy Minnesota. I refuse to. So I'm going Penn State number 7. Is that where we're at? Or number 6?
7 and 8.
Okay. I'm going Penn State number 7. I'm going Indiana number 8. They are what they are, and they're good at it.
So the Big Ten East, you think they'll get to a bowl game?
I think they'll sneak into one.
Okay.
Because think of this. Rutgers and Maryland, I think where Indiana's at right now, they'll get those wins.
Disrespected Minnesota.
Sorry, yeah. And then I need to see who they're playing out of the Big Ten West. Unfortunately for them, they don't play Illinois, and they would beat Illinois this year.
I think I'd have Indiana 9 right now, but Maryland is knocking on the door too.
Maryland's knocking on the door out of the
We don't talk a lot about Maryland. DJ Durkin's got them off to a nice start. They have a top 15 recruiting class too.
Of
right
course
now.
they do.
Now it won't stay there, but they could have a top 30 recruiting class. So there's some excitement there at Maryland. It's just they're in the Big Ten East. So I think I'd put Indiana 9, Maryland 10, and Northwestern 11.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Because even that one against Duke, that team cannot score. And you can't sustain that. Last year they were able to do it to a 10-3 record. That's impressive. But yeah, they already have regressed.
I think they'll win 5 games, Northwestern.
Yeah, I think so too. That's accurate. So 11, and now we have 3
So
left.
you got 12, 13, and 14. How are we separating Illinois, Rutgers, and Purdue? I know how I'm placing them. How are you placing them?
All right. I'll put Illinois number 12.
I think you're a little biased there.
I'll put Illinois number 13. I'll put Rutgers at number 12.
Rutgers beat New Mexico 37-28 and Howard 52-14. Well, who did they beat? Well, they didn't beat really anybody, but neither is Illinois. Yeah. They lost at Washington 48-13. Listen, I think it's a toss-up game when you go to Rutgers, but at this point, I'd probably have Illinois as the underdog.
Well, it's probably going to be a quadruple overtime game. Similar to the basketball.
I mean, we've had classics between Illinois and Rutgers.
So that trend will continue. I cannot wait until October 15th.
Just based on what we've seen, right? Yep. I mean, I can't just sit there and go, yep, Illinois is definitely better.
You know what's funny is you could legitimately be 3-3 after that Rutgers game.
Yeah, you could be.
And then you go to Michigan, and then all that goodwill goes right out the window.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything in Ann Arbor.
So you have Illinois 13 over Purdue still?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a train wreck at Purdue.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of funny that Purdue's has 2 quarterbacks, former quarterbacks, now starting in the SEC? Austin Appleby is starting, and
is Marv down there?
Danny Etling is starting at LSU.
Remember Robert Marv?
Yeah. And you know what? Darryl Hazel doesn't like any of those kind of questions. Like, why are those 2 starting for an SEC program and you're putting out David Blau?
What is with the names of their quarterbacks over there? There's like 5 consonants in that last name.
Yeah, that's not going so well.
Okay, so Appleby, where's he starting at?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is it Vandy or something like that?
Austin Appleby is starting at Florida.
What?
Yeah. So you got Appleby at Florida and Etling at LSU.
What? He's the
2
starter?
former isn't it weird how the SEC doesn't produce great quarterbacks?
They really don't, other than Dak Prescott.
Well, and Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was kind of a once-in-a-generation kind of guy. But most of these guys come out of the ACC or the Pac-12 or the Big 12. It's amazing that the SEC doesn't produce as many guys. Stafford came from there.
Maybe it's a sign that line play really is what it's all about. I mean, because think, all the best linemen in the country, at least for a very long time, we're starting to see Michigan and Ohio State and Michigan State kind of amass that kind of talent, especially defensively on the defensive lines. But, I mean, that was really it. If you look at Alabama or even LSU when they won it in 2003, that would have been after Rohan Davey. That was 2001. I'm trying to think who their quarterback was in 2003. But guys like Mettenberger and Matt Flynn, not great
all these Alabama quarterbacks.
Yeah.
McCarron. I'm looking at the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I find Matt Stafford out of Georgia. By the way, Georgia's Jacob Eason, a freshman, true freshman. He's going to be ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert out of Mizzou. Eli Manning out of Ole Miss.
Okay.
Dak Prescott out of Mississippi State. Cam Newton. And that's it.
No Alabama guys.
Yeah, out of a conference that produces that many great NFL players, it's amazing that they don't produce more quarterbacks. But you could also say the big thing about the Big Ten, because they haven't had a first-round draft pick since Kerry Collins in 1995.
How insane is that? Will that change?
Well,
we
thought last year was going to be that year, right? Because you had Cardale Jones coming back.
Yeah.
You had Christian Hackenberg, who I never liked, but a lot of people.
Which round did he go in? 3rd?
Hackenberg went in the 2nd round, which was way too high.
And where he end up?
The Jets.
Okay.
And then you had Connor Cook, and he went 5th round?
Yeah.
To the Raiders.
Yeah.
So yeah, SEC hasn't it's just interesting how they produce all these linemen, all these defensive players, and the quarterbacks just aren't there. It seems like more of them come from the ACC and the Big 12 and Pac-12 because they air it out a little more there.
Well, West Lunt will be. Well, we'll see. I just shouldn't have said. I didn't mean to make fun of West Lunt. I'm not making fun of West Lunt, but it does kind of show you that. I don't know what my point is, Jeremy. I blew a football fuse.
I was on CBS Sports. I was on CBS Sports NFL Draft last night, looking at the quarterback prospects in week 2 because that's what a Bears fan can do right now. Mm-hmm. And Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Kaiser are the number 2 and 5 prospects overall. Went down the list, and both guys are 7th round or undrafted free agent lists. Wes Lunt is the 287th overall prospect, the 15th rated quarterback. Right above him, Aaron Bailey was the 14th ranked quarterback and number 276, I think, overall prospect. Now, Gunnar Kiel was still on this list, and he's the 3rd stringer at Cincinnati. So take it with a grain of salt. I think I tweeted out because I thought it was really interesting. I don't think Aaron Bailey is going to play quarterback in the NFL. Wes Lunt at this point is not proven as an NFL prospect. I think there's a lot of holes in his game. But I thought it was interesting, and Illini fans, I think, went crazy with
Gunnar Kiel was going to play at Indiana, right?
Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right.
Did he transfer to Indiana, too?
I think he's been 3 different schools he's been associated with. Yeah. You name your kid Gunnar, and he's doomed. Doomed from the start.
That's a heck of a quarterback name, though.
Yeah, I think the Aaron Bailey thing, we talked a little bit before the show about Cubitt came in the conversation, as he often does around the ESPN 93.5 studios. And what frustrates people about Cubitt at the mere mention of the name, when really, history, I think, will look fairly kindly on him, or just fairly indifferently.
Yes.
Is probably the word. And I think it really hit me after the North Carolina game, and this is totally projecting my frustration with Wes Lunt and his performance in that North Carolina game onto something that may not be any better, but I'd just like to see it. Just to see on the field what it would have been like if Aaron Bailey would have been there. And that is one lingering effect of the Cubitt era where I thought, okay, wait a second. And Brad Weiser made this point, too, that you made a bowl game because of the improvisational abilities of Riley O'Toole.
Yep.
So you can't pretend, and certainly Riley was a better thrower.
Also, can we say this with Riley? The defense all of a sudden got good.
Got really good.
Right, towards the end of that year. But Riley came in, and I get that's why people are like, well, it worked with Riley. Let's see if it works with Chase Crouch. And I get that thought.
Yeah.
I do agree that Aaron Bailey with this personnel would be better. This team is still 1-2 with Aaron Bailey. This team is still probably a 3 or 4 win team with Aaron Bailey. Yeah. It's just you're not seeing your quarterback not moving. It's probably a little bit more fun to watch, and it's somebody different.
Well, and I think, too, in college football, you can get away with the 2-quarterback system. Sometimes the old adage of 2 quarterbacks, well, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 1 too many or something like that.
And we don't look at the flaws of Aaron Bailey, which right now he's got a 50% passer completion percentage. He's got a 106 quarterback rating, and that's at Northern Iowa. He does run. He runs really well. He's a heck of an athlete. He's a tough competitor. He's a great kid. But there are flaws in his game, and one of them we talked about with Nathan Cheelhouse all the time is the playbook was really difficult for him. And maybe that's on Bill Cubitt, but they ran simplified things with him in the game, but it was too simplified to where the defense knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. We only really got that Wisconsin game, that second half of Wisconsin in 2014.
It was really interesting.
And it was interesting, and that's why it's just when you have a talent, a tool in the shed like that, where basically at any moment you can say, well, throw them in there. Why not? Now, you don't want to be a program where you're in a situation of, why not? What the heck? Let's just do it and see what happens. But it would have been cool.
I think this team has a better chance with him at quarterback. Yes. I think because there's so little talent around the quarterback and there's so little weapons around the quarterback that his weapon of legs just gives him something that West doesn't.
Yeah, you're at a point right now where if a play breaks down, that play's dead.
Yep.
It's over. And at the very least,
it's easier to defend.
Yeah, at the very least. And that's why it will be exciting when this coaching staff can get a mobile quarterback in here. I mean, we've had even Nathan Cheelhouse in the years that he would frustrate you. There were enough plays in any given game where his mobility made you think, you know what, it's good to have that.
And the 1 year he was hurt, 2012, he didn't have it because he was hurt.
Yep.
So, 359-2255, 217-359-2255 if you'd like to weigh in. We'll talk with Chris Raby, KMOX, about the Cardinals at 525. Also, we just added this, just heard back from him in a text message. Martin O'Donnell, Fighting Illini Radio Network. We're going to skip drive time today. We'll still give Honda BMW Champaign their read, but Martin O'Donnell will join us at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Talk a little Illinois football. We'll talk about this Wes Lunt thing and what he wants to see more out of that quarterback and where quarterback is on the list of issues for Illinois.
Wes Lunt, a name that will live in infamy, along with Sam McLaurin and all the other illustrious names in Illinois history. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Everybody has played hurt, and you never want to come off the field because you always think, okay, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts, my shoulder's messed up. Can I do it? But you still think you can do what you have to do. But a quarterback is pretty specific. But you know who never gets the benefit of the doubt? Jay Cutler.
Right.
Jay Cutler will never get the benefit of the doubt. This could be one of the top quarterbacks whose thumb is hanging there, and they'll say, you know what, I really want to be out there. I just can't grip the ball and throw it. And everybody would be like, oh, man, he really gave it a shot, though, all the way to the end. But Jay Cutler tries to stay out there. We heard about it when he hurt his knee in the playoff game. He tried everything he could. Everybody was destroying it, but he's getting it shot up, trying to stay in the game. Trying to stay there. Other quarterbacks may get a benefit of the doubt. Jay Cutler doesn't. I get it.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Mortgage rates have dropped again. In fact, recently, mortgage rates have dropped to the second lowest level in history. Now is the time for you to take advantage of these historically low rates and save serious money every month by refinancing your mortgage. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is all the way down to 3.5%. APR 3.57%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how far we can lower your mortgage payment. For 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year, they also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. It's a great time to refinance with Quicken Loans and save hundreds every month. This ultra-low rate of 3.5% won't last long. So call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We're offering a great new deal on qualifying Train heating and cooling systems. For a limited time, you can play the Train Big Game promotion by scratching off a trade-in allowance up to $2,000. Or you can choose another way to save. Get 0% interest for 5 years. That's no interest with equal payments and approved credit for 5 years on any qualifying Train system. Both options are for a limited time. So pick your best deal, up to $2,000 trade allowance or 0% interest for 5 years. Call 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands, your independent train dealer for program details. Call 888-534-6894 about credit costs and terms. Regular APR is 28.99% for newly opened accounts. Subject to credit approval. Offer expires December 15, 2016.
You know you need to do it, and you know you should do it at least twice a year. You owe it to yourself. I'm talking about a checkup at West Main Dental in Urbana. When was the last time you visited the dentist? If you can't remember, or you're in need of a new dentistry team, West Main Dental is where you should go. Our team at West Main Dental is waiting to see you. Come in and be catered by a professional staff that includes Dr. Janet Bardell, a University of Illinois and Southern Illinois University graduate. West Main Dental offers the highest level of dental care in a warm and comforting environment. From a simple quick checkup to providing you with an at-home teeth whitening kit or orthodontic services, trust the professionals at West Main Dental. Visit West Main Dental in downtown Urbana on Main Street, online at westmaindental.com, or call 607-1292. Trust me, you won't be able to stop smiling with a set of healthy, sparkling white teeth thanks to the work of West Main Dental. West Main Dental, online at westmaindental.com, or call 607-1292 to schedule an appointment today.
Sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to make it rain. Build your bankroll like the pros at MyBookie.lv. An industry-leading website, MyBookie offers real Vegas odds and incredible player props. Sick and tired of getting the runaround when you're ready to get paid? Join MyBookie today for fast, no-hassle payouts. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar, up to $1,000. Act now and receive an additional 10% bonus when you join and deposit within the next 30 minutes. Enter promo code RADIO. Pull out your smartphone and sign up with their user-friendly mobile site for adrenaline on demand. Did the game already kick off? Don't sweat it. MyBookie has live in-game action with odds updated in real time. Visit MyBookie today. Use promo code radio to claim your 100% bonus before it's too late. Or call 844-900-BETS to open your account and start winning. Play with the biggest, win with the best. Only at MyBookie.lv.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What'll he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
I'm Austin Berkland, and this is your 4:30 Sports Update. Last night, the Bears couldn't get the offense going as they fell to the Philadelphia Eagles 29-14, having only 64 yards rushing. Carson Wentz of the Eagles threw a touchdown, and the Bears wideout Eddie Royal sent a punt return back for a touchdown. Injuries were the story of the Bears last night, having 5 players injured, including quarterback Jay Cutler and linebacker Lamar Houston. Ian Rappaport of NFL.com is reporting that Cutler's thumb injury could be a lengthy absence, even though it will not need surgery. Lamar Houston injured his knee and will be out for the season with a torn ACL, the MRI confirmed. The NL wildcard race heated up in a big way last night. The Giants fell to the Dodgers last night on a walk-off by Adrian Gonzalez, and the Cardinals defeated the Rockies 5-3. The Cardinals and Giants are now tied for the second wildcard spot. The Birds on the bat hope to take sole possession of it tonight as they take on the Rockies at Coors Field. Righty vet Adam Wainwright takes on the Rockies lefty Jorge De La Rosa. You can hear the game on this station, ESPN CU 93.5. Pregame starts at 6:40. The Cubs have a new magic number, and it's for the best record in the NL. It's currently at 5 after the Cubs defeated the Reds 4-2 last night. The Northsiders trailed early on 2-0, but Russell and Gutierrez each hit bombs in the 7th inning to tie the game, and then Fowler hit the game-winning RBI single in that same inning. Cubs host the Reds tonight, and it's John Lester on the mound for the Cubbies, who is second in the NL ERA race. The Reds turn to Jake Thompson, who's making his first start of the season. Here's the game on our sister station, Sunny 95.3 at 7:05. The White Sox fell to the Royals last night 8-6. Carlos Rodon was shelled, giving up 8 hits and 6 earned runs in only 4 innings. Jose Abreu did hit his 25th homer last night. The White Sox started 2-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies. It's James Shields for the Sox and Jake Thompson for the Phils. Game time at Philly is 6:05. And that, my friends, is the 4:30 Sports Center update.
Thank you, Austin. Buffalo Wild Wings is introducing Music City Fire, a new take on Nashville hot sauce. It's a spicy blend of cayenne, paprika, garlic, and more, made for wings and made to be eaten while watching football. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. I think Austin, when he closes out, I like that. And that, my friends, is the Sports Center update.
It's a sign-off.
It's sort of like Chevy Chase.
That's the way it was.
I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. It's one in a long line of great closing statements.
Yeah, you got to have that, though, right? You got to have that kind of thing.
You have to have a sign-off. We've had a lot of good luck with update guys recently, but I think Austin, if I'm partial.
Austin's doing pretty well. James doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hopefully James getting better. He suffered an injury.
Yes.
It was
his dog.
A pet injury.
It was a Jeff Kent-like injury. Remember those?
Yeah. Carlos Boozer tripping over his duffel bag.
That's right, yeah.
When the lights were off, James had that kind of injury. But
he came in trying to power through the show, and he said, dude.
He did an intro yesterday, and it just ended up being really good. And I said, get the heck out of here. Yeah. Go to the doctor. His arm didn't look very well.
No guts, no glory in the world of broadcast sports.
Twitter poll at Tay and J Show. Higher football winning percentage this year, the Bears or the Illini? Right now, the Illini get 71% of the vote.
Yep.
Well, I'm a little shocked there. I'm not going to lie, because I think the Bears' talent level is more comparable to their opponents than Illinois compared to the rest of their opponents.
Well, the Levy effect is still somewhat in force, maybe.
Yeah, I guess people are still a little more optimistic. I guess the Bears, everyone says, they're going to go win 16. I don't think that's.
Let's say you go into Nebraska. I'm not going. There's a win isn't possible. It's not going to happen. Let's say you go into Nebraska, lose by 10.
What do you think it's going to be 20-point spread?
I think we're going to lose by 31.
I was thinking about that the other day, like what my prediction will be. It'll be 30s or 40s.
No, I see this going
to the teens.
Yeah, I've seen these games before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
just
going to be.
You don't have the talent that stacks up.
No, it's going to be 45 to 17.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it. I'm going to be in Chicago that Saturday and really have to decide truly how much of an emphasis do I put on getting somewhere to watch that game and buying $8 drinks because it's Chicago and I'm not going to buy a beer. I got to have my thing. It's frustrating, Jeremy, because you know, like I again, and we've talked about it, the expectations we had going in, and on one hand, it's like, well, did we all get duped? I don't think so. I think we looked at what this was, and you could say with the Bears as well, but I think me and you are kind of the same. We didn't really care.
No.
You know, we didn't care about the Bears
like
this year.
We just had Pat come in here and go, you know, I liked the Deion Bush. Like, he looks good at cornerback. And I'm like, you know, he goes, does he even start? And I go, I don't even know. Yeah, and usually as a Bears fan, I'm all into that. But when you talk about apathetic Bears fans, I'm in that group right now because usually I'd be all about it, watching it. I just kind of turned it on the last couple Sundays, not expecting anything. No. And that's not good. When a guy who's so into usually his teams does that, I'm used to doing that with the White Sox. I'm not used to doing that with the Bears, but the last 4 or 5 years have done that to me.
You know, in the Bears' defense, I guess there was a stretch between 2005 and 2012 where every year you entered it with actual
playoff
excitement
opportunity
and playoff expectations. And in that course, I guess he would have made it in 05, 06, 2010. Oh, man, that's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, Lovey only made 3 out of 9 years he was there.
Man, so I think what it is just gradually the disappointments go from disappointing because your expectations were playoffs and you didn't get that to disappointing because playoffs aren't even in the conversation. They aren't even realistic.
And it doesn't feel watchable.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're looking like, you know, Austin, even if the Eagles don't make the playoffs this year, he's got something to watch. Like Carson Wentz is much watched television now just to see the development of this quarterback. Kevin White, is he the reason I'm going to tune in to see if he can develop into that option? Like, I'm interested in him. I think he's intriguing. Leonard Floyd, am I tuning in to see if he develops into his pass rusher? Like, next year I might look at that stuff, but right now it feels like, well, if you don't have the other pieces in place.
Well, and I think with football more than any other sport, you can pinpoint if you have a quarterback that's fun to watch. And we had a text that we can get to in a second about this because I would like to.
No, it's great because the Bears and Illini do align a lot on these things. When you talk about the quarterbacks that the fans really don't like all that much, they don't endear themselves to the fans. The huge task that the new regimes have in front of both of them because of the failed regimes of the past, and the leadership at the top and putting all these things into play. So I think they do align into a lot of similar conversations.
And the frustration stems from, okay, you've already come out of a period of time where you aren't winning. So in the case of Illinois football, you haven't had a regular season, a winning record in a regular season since the Rose Bowl year. 2010.
In the conference season, you mean? Or just, regular season, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, you had 2 6-6 seasons. 3 of those in 2014, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
2010, you could have argued was kind of fun because you were coming off a 3-1 season, but you still had like a home loss to Minnesota, a 2-win Minnesota team. And then 2011, well, that was the ultimate Illinois kind of season. Super hot, then super cold. So you have all this sustained disappointment, and then you have to follow that up with an actual genuine rebuild. So what you're ultimately looking at is, okay, here are 8 years of crap.
Which is what Illinois needed all along.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Like we talked about with Ryan Easterling, Tim Beckman, because he started off so terribly, felt he had to patchwork it, but he went so far with the patchwork that he forgot to tear up the foundation a little bit, right?
And that's
what Lovie Smith has to do. And I hope they stick to that. I hope that Illinois understands that we have to do it with high school prospects. We need to do it with in-state prospects, get a core of them. And what I hope doesn't happen is, you know, they came in here and they've shot for the stars with some recruits. They've landed guys like Larry Boyd, Ricky Smalling, that Illinois hasn't gotten in the past. But you also need to understand that you can't pass on these in-state kids who are good enough to play in the Big Ten and can be good foundation kids while you shoot for these other stars and then come back to those in-state kids once you miss on those other guys.
And say, hey, we were just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry, the better one, and we couldn't get them. So.
Then those kids decide to go elsewhere. I hope they don't do that as well.
They're walking a tightrope with that because this first class that they were 3 months late in the first place, not that you should just take what you can get. I do agree that certain times you do shoot for that next level.
It's a fine line.
Yeah. But we do see, certainly I think it's kind of like a sliding scale where when you get down to those 3-star kids, well, there's a ton of 3-star kids. So are we talking the 3-star kid that's getting offers from, he has a random offer to Texas A&M and Missouri? Or are we talking the 3-star kid that's getting Bowling Green and Minnesota gave him a look? Which one are we talking about?
There's a difference between a 3-star like Larry Boyd. I'll even take just Illinois commits. Larry Boyd and Kendall Smith.
Yeah.
Like Larry Boyd has offers from Oklahoma State, Missouri, places like that, Arkansas, Minnesota even, Wisconsin. Well, then you look at guys like Kendall Smith, who mostly have MAC offers, right? So 3-star basically means, and I'd love to have Alan True to break this down maybe someday because he does it really well. 3-star basically means he's good enough to play Division I football. Right. Like he's a definite Division I football player, but there's a difference between some of those guys, 3 stars, and then 4 stars usually are legitimate Power 5 starter quality, then 5 stars are like legitimate NFL players in 2-3 years.
Yeah. And usually, well, I don't know what the percentage would be of 5 stars to make the NFL. It'd be fun to go back and look at previous rivals list.
I can look this up. I think there's a good discussion topic because Allen does it really well. Yes, there's going to be misses. J.J. Watt was a 2-star recruit, but more often, 2-star recruits are not going to make it to the NFL. There are guys, and there are guys who aren't even ranked that make it to the NFL, but more likely the percentages, 5 stars, 4 stars are your first-round picks. Some 3 stars make it in, but most of those guys are made up of 4 and 5-star prospects.
Yeah, these are evaluators that watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty keen sense of
It's
that.
an imperfect science, as it is with the NFL draft, right?
But going back to the topic of, I think you could look at the apathy that I have now for the rest of the season, and that many Illinois, because there's a ton of combo fans here, meaning the Illinois and the Bears fan in this area. So all within 48 hours, you went from, well, I should put it this way, 2 consecutive weekends, and there were a lot of these weekends last year, or the last few years, where both teams would disappoint you, and sometimes both teams would disappoint you upwards of 30, 35 points in a given weekend. So 2 consecutive weekends with some hope and optimism going into it, you've emerged the next Monday or the next Tuesday thinking, well, that's it. And to have it happen and be punctuated a second weekend, even worse than the one that came before it, it's just jarring because that Illinois atmosphere, I think what you saw from the Murray State game was people, even though they understood that, yes, this is the rebuild. This is a process where Lovie Smith is going to have to instill an entire new culture and get an entirely different kind of athlete in here. We all knew that took time. But it's very hard as a fan after a 52-3 win, I don't care who the opponent is, when you look efficient, execute, all that stuff, to really just say, hey, what if we get lucky here? What if we get lucky and we can sort of accelerate this process? We don't have to go the normal route of...
I think it's simpler than that, Carp. I think it's simpler than that. And I think it's, let's look at things that give us an idea that this coaching staff can have a huge improvement on this team. And I think the things you're looking for in the first 3 games are no stupid plays, no stupid penalties, right? Play disciplined football. Play smart football. Play like you're well coached. And I know it takes time to turn a program around, but I still think you haven't seen those things. And I think the staff will get it right. The staff's got a much higher ceiling than the one you had. It's going to take time, but even in a short sample and knowing how short the sample size is, how small it is, there still have been a lot of encouraging things. I think recruiting, you've seen some encouraging things. They've had a solid start to that. I think you will get better in time. They're getting faster players. They're getting bigger players. But I think just on the field, you haven't seen a lot of great play and a lot of inspiring play and a lot of that this is a huge improvement, at least on the field. And I think we'll see that eventually. But I think in a short sample size, you're still looking for something to be encouraging. And so far this season, you haven't seen it.
There's enough cachet that Lovie Smith has where other coaches going into that North Carolina game a couple weeks ago, and the excitement and anticipation that built around it, Lovie Smith clearly was a big part of the reason the fans were so pumped about it. If it had been Dino Babers, I don't think you get
or even PJ Fleck.
Sure, you don't get that same reaction. But let's just say, if it would have been any other coach that would have lost that big game in that way, you would have lost fans far more than just. It would have felt like a one-shot kind of deal. Like, okay, this is your show me game. Come on, PJ, or come on, Dino. I need to see this. Otherwise, I'm going to check out for the next 3 years. The encouraging thing about that weekend and the encouraging thing going forward is what that whole scene and that sellout crowd and everything showed me was that Illinois fans will come back like that. They truly will. They will come back very quickly, and they'll have that enthusiasm, and losing to North Carolina like that won't keep them scared if they see progress, and they know that, oh, well, in year 3, when we have another big game like that, okay. But I do wonder if there's some sort of point where eventually the fandom in general, it just basically, it kind of snaps and they're just done. And the scary thing going into this with Lovie Smith is, let's say you get to year 4 and 5, and this is getting.
But what gets him back? What gets him back? Because they lost that North. Yeah,
wins
or what level?
Wins or competitive losses, along with getting recruits. So look back at the early Zook era.
Entertaining play.
Yes.
Like if next year they come out, say they got a grad transfer at quarterback, which I hope they do.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And you got Ricky Smalling and Carmani Green and Malik Turner and Mikey Dudek. And you're airing it out a little bit, but you're a 4-8 team. Does that do it? Because with Lovie, because that's what they were in 2013.
Yeah.
With Bill Cubitt coming in here, Nathan Schulhouse airing it out.
Well,
with Steve Hull.
What coach should we continually hear about whenever we talk about yesteryear? Mike White.
Yeah.
He wasn't winning a lot in 80, 81.
But
it was a
entertaining
process. But from the outset, and you still hear the anecdote, well, the first play he ever had was a Hail Mary or a deep pass. And that was a sign of, hey, okay, well, this might take time.
Team.
This may take time, but what the hell? I'll go over to the stadium on a Saturday because this is a fun brand of football.
Because Illinois is going to probably try and get the 30-point games next year because their defense is going to give up that much.
Might as well. But yeah, I think the brand of football certainly plays into it too. And we had a text earlier in the Cheap Hour text line. You can always text us at 359-2255, referring to the West Lunt Jay Cutler comparison and that Nathan Schulhouse, here we go from Zach and Danville. Schulhouse may not have got a lot of wins at Illinois, but he made the games exciting, whereas Lunt is sort of like watching a Jay Cutler out there. And I see that, and I know that there were times, especially 2012, when it was a hobbled Schulhouse. It wasn't too much fun to watch.
There's a lot of criticism in Nate.
Yes. But there were multiple drives a game, right? And I haven't seen this really so far with Illinois this season. There were multiple drives a game where there would maybe be a play here or play there that extended a drive that otherwise would not have. And it's just that little glimmer of hope that, well, maybe if everything went right for our offense today.
Kind of like with Riley O'Toole.
Yeah, and you're in a situation now with a line that can't keep Wes upright. Wes Lunt, a guy that doesn't really like a whole lot of guys bearing down on him. Who would? But, he gets a little skittish.
That's part of being a quarterback. That's part of being a quarterback. We've hit on that a lot. When we come back, Alan True broke down the star system and how accurate it kind of actually is, even though there always are exceptions to it, and how the 2017 kind of draft board, how those guys stacked up as recruits. I think it's really interesting.
Nice. We'll do that when we come back on the Tay and J Show.
When your computer's not working, you're not working. Hi, this is Dan from Simplified Computers. Whether your computer is running slow, you have a virus, or it's just time for an upgrade, Simplified Computers is here to help with personal service you won't find at the big box stores. We can set up your wireless network, build, install, and maintain your business's server, or replace your hard drive. For over 18 years, we have served the Champaign-Urbana community with integrity and quality customer service. Call us at 352-5000. Simplified Computers, simply the best.
Clark Lindsay, the area's only life plan community, invites you to try something new during Champaign County's 3rd annual Active Aging Week, September 25th through October 2nd. Celebrate aging and active lifestyles through fun-filled, engaging community events, including bird watching, rock climbing, a comedy club, and much more. These events are free of charge for those who are 55 and better, thanks to support from local sponsors. More details available at clarklindsay.com. Clark Lindsay, your life, your plan, your community.
Can't find the Cubs on TV? No problem. Listen to them on our sister station, Sunny 95.3. Champaign-Urbana's home for soft rock favorites from then and now, and Cubs baseball.
It's panic time. The boss just asked you when that new building will be completed, and you haven't even started yet. Well, don't panic. Call the name you know. General Steel. You've known General Steel for decades, and you know they'll save you about half the cost and about half the time of conventional construction. But did you know that General Steel has provided buildings for some of the biggest names in business and government? And did you know the General can provide pre-construction planning services for your total project? And I'll bet you didn't know you can get General Steel quality and save thousands. For example, a 40-foot by 60-foot building for under $22,000 or a 50 by 100 for under $35,000. That's right, 5,000 square feet for under $35,000, and all with General Steel's 50-year structural warranty. So don't panic. Call now and lock in some of the lowest prices this year. 866-96-STEEL. Call 866-96-STEEL today. Quick, the boss is coming. That's 866-967-8335.
This is Eric Bolin with Provident Financial Group. Are you sure you're on track to reach your retirement goals? Wondering how much money you'll need to last your lifetime? Whether you're retiring in a few weeks or a few years, we can analyze your needs and create a plan that's right for you. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Bunny's Tavern, the best kept secret in downtown Urbana since 1936. Come enjoy 1350 mix and match domestic buckets 7 days a week. Enjoy Bunny's 10 big screen TVs, whether you're inside or enjoying the summer weather. On Fridays, enjoy a dry battered or grilled cod sandwich all day and all night. With delicious daily lunch and dinner specials, Bunny's Tavern may not stay a secret for long. Come check out what people in Champaign-Urbana have been whispering about for over 75 years. Bunny's Tavern.
School just started, but it's already time to start thinking about apartment hunting for fall 2017 and spring 2018. This year, sign on the dotted line with JSM Apartments, with locations all over campus. Live in Campus Center, Green Street Towers, or Gregory Place in Urbana. Leasing for large apartments, 4 and 5 bedrooms, starts September 23rd. And if you sign with JSM, you're able to sign up for the JSM VIP program, where you can receive discounts at local stores and restaurants. Go to jsmliving.com for more information.
You are warmly invited to attend the 10th Annual Disability Resource Expo on Saturday, October 15th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Fluid Event Center, 601 North Country Fair Drive in Champaign. This free, family-friendly event is open to the entire community and features nearly 100 exhibitors, plus a variety of specialized entertainment, door prizes, local artisans, and children's activities. For more information, please call 367-5703 or go to disabilityresourceexpo.org.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 6, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Warner, wrapping up the 4 o'clock hour. And we started a discussion last segment about the caliber of kids that Lovey's going to have to bring in to get the program the next level and how accurate the ranking systems are. Inexact science, but I guess there is some data behind it.
Yeah, Alan True from Scout posted this on our board a while ago. By the way, next hour we'll talk with Martin O'Donnell to start the hour about Illinois. We'll also talk some Cardinals with Chris Raby, KMOX. Here's what he said. First, it's hard to take all the high school players and put them in 4 boxes. There aren't any 1-stars, and there are only 30, 40, 5-stars a year, so really most players get fit into 3 boxes, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. That being said, considering that, I think the industry does very well. 22 of 31 first-round picks from a year ago were 4 or 5 stars.
All right.
When you consider how many fewer 4 and 5 stars there are, that's a pretty good percentage. In terms of what it means, I think the idea that it's 3 out of 5 is not exactly what we're saying or is misunderstood. A 3-star movie is average. A 3-star hotel is average. Well, we only rank D1 prospects, so we only rank the best of the best. We've taken all the 5-star hotels and re-ranked only those on a 5-star scale. I'll say that again. We've taken all the 5-star hotels and re-ranked only those on a 5-star scale, if that makes sense. Knowing there are tons and tons of players, we also do state and regional rankings, which help narrow the field and give everyone an easier way to see who lines up where. We tend to get the 2 stars that don't make it thrown at us. J.J. Watt is a great example. He was a 2-star defensive end. In his class, though, there were 87 2-star DNs. There are 3 in the NFL.
Okay.
The majority of 2 stars do what we expect them to do. There are always a few exceptions. Offer lists don't catch the sleepers either, though. Watt had very few offers. Malik Turner, for instance, had very few offers, and we ranked him higher than his offer list would have suggested. So here are times where it works the other way. Nobody really notices a kid like Malik because he was still a 3-star, but there's a wide range of 3 stars, as explained above. I've explained here I don't think that just because a guy only has MAC offers, he should be below guys who have Power 5 offers. The MAC has great players and coaches, and they do a great job in evaluation, and the Big Ten misses on guys too. So here is Sports Illustrated's big board for 2017 and their ranking in the recruiting rankings. Myles Garrett, defensive end out of Texas A&M, 5-star. Deshaun Watson, quarterback Clemson, 4-star. Jonathan Allen, 5-star. Leonard Fournette, 5-star. Desmond King, Iowa cornerback, 3-star. Dalvin Cook out of Florida State, 5-star running back. Cam Robinson, offensive tackle out of Alabama, 5-star. Jabril Peppers out of Michigan, 5-star.
Yeah.
Malik McDowell, Michigan State, 5-star. Christian McCaffrey, 4-star. In conclusion, Alan says, I'd say don't take star rankings as the gospel. They're not meant to be perfect, although we try to get as close to that as possible, but don't dismiss them either. I think they're more accurate than typically given credit for. Looking at state, positional, regional rankings, those give you a better scope rather than national rankings, which have thousands of kids figured in. So yes, there are always exceptions to the rule, but usually the rankings do a pretty good job of kind of evaluating players.
Right, nice breakdown of that. And that's the thing, is I understand that. I think when you see the anecdotal exceptions to these rankings, then you remember the exceptions.
Yes.
So it feels like there's a ton of them, and then, well, that automatically disqualifies the system. I don't think so at all. And then with basketball, it's even more, and this is why it's easier for me to get into basketball recruiting, knowing that it only takes one or two guys to maybe change the fortunes of a program. It is such a larger and more complex task for a football program that's been mired in mediocrity or worse to get to that next level. And as we talked about in the last segment, okay, well, the wide variety of 3-stars, there's a 3-star that could be getting SEC offers and a 3-star that's only getting MAC offers, and that article alludes to it as well. Yeah. That you only are really putting these guys.
Khalil Mack out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player. And he's kind of, one of those you look at like, well, he wasn't a big-time prospect, but there are some exceptions to the rule. Sometimes
I'm trying to think of the Illinois guys that have made the pros recently. I mean, Jihad Ward was a really good pickup. Was he a 4-star?
Jihad Ward was a 3. I mean, some had him as a 4-star JUCO, some had him as a 3-star, but before JUCO, I think he wasn't.
Whitney Merciless?
He was a 3-star.
Yeah.
Jeff Allen was like a 2-star.
Right.
So, I mean, it happens. But A.J. Jenkins was a 4-star.
Yeah.
Corey Leggett was a 4-star kind of prospect. So, yeah, it happens all the time. But I think Allen kind of breaks it down, kind of thinking about it as you're ranking all the 5-star hotels and going back and ranking them as either 2-star, 5-star hotels or 4-star, 5-star hotels, kind of that. That's kind of what you're doing there.
And 2-star hotels are like a Hampton Inn. Those are pretty nice.
Not bad.
I like those. Good continental breakfast.
I mean, our kind of thing. Yeah, it kind of
like
works
a
out.
Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. That's a great hotel. 2.5 stars.
We're going to talk with Martin O'Donnell, Illini Radio Network, at the top of next hour. We got one more text from Michael, and man, Wes Lunt is the topic du jour. So if we aren't going to use Lunt's best attribute of throwing the ball down the field, or he isn't willing to try, are we better off with Crouch? He's obviously a better runner, and surely he can complete those 3 to 7 yard dump offs, right? Or do I just have backup quarterback-itis? That's Michael in Monticello.
You and Lon referenced this yesterday. I'm kind of on board with that. If you find yourself in a spot in a 1-5, even 2-5, if it's
got to consider it.
If it's clearly going nowhere, because Crouch will still be on the team next year. Jeff George Jr. will still be on the team next year.
Jeff George Jr. is basically Wes Lunt at a lower level, though.
That's true.
But, hey, let's see what he's got.
Well, you're going to get to a point, I think we can all agree, that as this team stands, you're getting to a point, at least by early November, where you say, well, what is this?
Yes, and if Lunt continues to struggle, I totally agree with that. Right now, no. Wes still gives you the best chance to win. He's got to play better, and people around him have to play better. But if you find yourself down at Nebraska 40-10, why not put him in?
Yeah.
That's what I like. Western Michigan, you were down. Why was Lunt still in the game?
That was confusing.
Like, yeah, go see what you got in Crouch.
Almost like it was,
show people what you see in Crouch, right?
It's almost like it was punishment towards Lunt. Like, no, you're staying in. You got to complete this crap. Sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna put your stamp on this one. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see Chase maybe a little bit in those kind of situations, but not until at least mid-October. Let's see where they are, and then we can reconsider that.
Coming up next hour, we got Martin O'Donnell to start, Chris Raby at 5:20. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors Nursery is home with a giant $5 mum. You simply won't find a nicer mum anywhere for only $5. And this year we added a super giant mum in a 5-gallon pot that's only $15 if you buy 3 or more, half the price of other stores. But let's not forget what we do best, trees and shrubs. We're fully stocked with tens of thousands of large trees and shrubs to help you fill all your landscape needs. And all our trees are on sale. Take 20% off any tree you buy from Country Arbors this week. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery or go to countryarbors.com for more information and directions.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. John 3:16 states, states, "For this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life." If your life has no direction or purpose, if you serve no one but yourself, and if you want to change the direction and outcome of your life, visit a local church this Sunday. Most churches have free Bibles. Ask for one. Start reading and learning about Jesus, his life, and how he wants you to live your life. Make an eternal decision today to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. This message is brought to you by the Blossom Basket Florist.
It's panic time. The boss just asked you when that new building will be completed, and you haven't even started yet. Well, don't panic. Call the name you know, General Steel. You've known General Steel for decades, and you know they'll save you about half the cost and about half the time of conventional construction. But did you know that General Steel has provided buildings for some of the biggest names in business and government? And did you know the General can provide pre-construction planning services for your total project? And I'll bet you didn't know you can get General Steel quality and save thousands. For example, a 40-foot by 60-foot building for under $22,000, or a 50 by 100 for under $35,000. That's right, 5,000 square feet for under $35,000, and all with General Steel's 50-year structural warranty. So don't panic. Call now and lock in some of the lowest prices this year. 866-96-STEEL. Call 866-96-STEEL today. Quick, the boss is coming. That's 866-967-8335.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. The man accused of bombing a New York neighborhood was on FBI radar at one point. Ahmad Rahami's father confirms to reporters that he expressed concerns to the FBI 2 years ago that his son might be involved with terrorism.
You told that to the FBI? You called them and told them?
Yes.
And what did they say?
They not doing the job.
They didn't do their job. You wanted them to bring him in for questioning?
No.
What did you want? What did you want them to do?
I don't want nothing right now.
Law enforcement officials say the FBI did some checking on Rahami but found no red flags. Sad news after the crash of a U.S. spy plane in Northern California. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has a live report.
And Kathleen, the Air Force says a U-2 Dragon Lady aircraft crashed in Sutter County, California, shortly after taking off from the Beale Air Force Base. 2 pilots on board ejected. One of them survived and is injured, according to an Air Force spokesman, but the other pilot was killed. This U-2 aircraft is only a one-seater typically, but some have been outfitted with 2 seats for training purposes. This particular aircraft is used at high altitudes, most often for reconnaissance and surveillance. It's unclear what went wrong and why this aircraft went down, Kathleen.
Thanks, Jessica. President Obama is calling on international leaders to accept more refugees into their countries.
In recent years in the United States, we've worked to put in intensive screening and security checks so that we can welcome refugees and ensure our security. In fact, refugees are subject to more vigorous screening than the average tourist.
The president hosted a summit on the global refugee crisis at the United Nations. He made his final speech as president before the UN General Assembly. Small gains end a 2-day losing streak on Wall Street. The Dow climbing 9 points, S&P adding a fraction, NASDAQ up 6. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy. It's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
Focus. You need it to run a business, so don't let legal questions distract you. Use LegalZoom instead. Things like lease agreements and employment laws get complicated, but they're part of running a business. That's why LegalZoom built a network of independent attorneys in 48 states. You can rely on them for the legal details without paying by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. So focus on growing your business and use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
A U.S. official tells Fox News Russia was responsible for bombing an aid convoy outside Aleppo that killed at least a dozen aid workers.
A spokesman for U.S. Central Command said the bombing by Russian jets has put the week-long ceasefire agreement in jeopardy. In fact, the United Nations aid agency is suspending all convoys in Syria. Secretary of State John Kerry said the ceasefire in Syria is not dead, but a U.S. military spokesman said the plan to set up a joint operations center with the Russians is currently on hold. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
A rally planned tonight in Tulsa after a white officer fatally shot an unarmed black man. Some are calling for the arrest of Officer Betty Shelby in the death of Terrence Crutcher. New polls have mixed results for the presidential candidates.
A new Monmouth poll in Florida shows Hillary Clinton leading Donald Trump by 5 points, 46% to 41% among likely voters, with 5% who are undecided. In August, Monmouth gave Clinton a 9-point lead over Trump. But a new poll from Elon University in North Carolina shows Donald Trump leading Hillary Clinton by 1 point, 44 to 43% of likely voters. Clinton has been to North Carolina twice in the past 2 weeks, to both Charlotte and Greensboro. Trump is campaigning in North Carolina today.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. The Senate minority leader says Donald Trump would be the wrong choice for Americans who just barely survived a financial crisis.
If elected, Donald Trump would be the scammer in chief. Trump is a fraud. That's a word that I chose.
Senator Harry Reid also criticized the Republican-led Senate for taking a record number of days off while failing to come up with money to fight the Zika virus or a resolution to fund the government. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Cheap Bauer. Trust the heating and cooling experts at Cheap Bauer Service Experts to help keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit cheapbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 65. Wednesday, sunny, clear, high 88, low of 63. Thursday, high 88, mostly sunny, low of 64. Summer hanging around. It's sunny, clear, 91 in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante. A Lucas Golf Tournament, I believe it is that time of year, with Jeremy Warner alongside. Nothing but football really today. We will
talking about the great state of Illinois football so far. And not just Illinois, the state of Illinois.
Yeah,
football.
Literally. We will get into Cardinals baseball later. At 5:40, we're going to have Mike's Mike. So if you could, text any question. I will answer it at 5:40 to 359-2255. That's 359-2255. You can also tweet me at FanboyCarp. And Austin will gather these because, Jeremy, you got to dip out to go check out Illinois football practice.
It's a big week where they got to correct a lot of things. And let's talk about that with Martin O'Donnell, Illini Radio Network. He's joining us now on the Jupiter's at the Crossing phone line. Don't forget Tuesdays, get half off large pizzas all day at Jupiter's at the Crossing. Martin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing well. We were hoping for more positive Illinois football talk in these first couple of weeks, but that 8-day span where you have the double, 23-point loss to North Carolina, the 24-point loss to Western Michigan, it's kind of taken a lot of wind out of the sails of what a lot of Illini fans wanted to see.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly you have. I don't know how much wind it should have taken out of the sails. I mean, obviously those are two pretty good football teams.
Yep.
And obviously Illinois has plenty of areas in which they can improve upon. But 3 games into the season, I think the bye week. When I looked at the season to start with, I said, well, they got an early bye. Ideally, you want that a little bit later on to rest up. But I actually think kind of the timing of this bye week, given the past couple weeks, actually is pretty good, and you get some key guys healthy. And then just go ahead and put your head down and plow through Big Ten season.
Martin, I always like talking offensive line play with you. We know this group isn't where Lovie Smith eventually wants it to be. They got to get bigger and stronger, more physical up front. But the rushing attack, especially against Western Michigan, didn't have many opportunities to run after the first or second quarter. But what are you seeing? What are the issues on that offensive line?
I think part of, one of the big issues with offensive line play, a lot of it has to do with kind of chemistry and continuity. And so when you take a piece, one of those pieces out of there, there's a whole lot of relearning that has to happen. And I think when you have an injury, as we saw, they did pretty well against Murray State, not having Joe Spencer in there. You move Nick Allegretti over to center. and you bring in Jordan Fagan and Darte Lee at the one guard position. But then, not having Gabe Meganson in there last week, I think obviously made a pretty big impact. And then obviously when Austin Schmidt goes down early in the game, well, now you're having to, take a guy like Jordan Fagan, you put him at tackle. He's been learning that guard position and really honing in on that all week, and now you have to kick him out to tackle, and then you bring a true freshman in, and so that side is a guy who hasn't played as much tackle, and a true freshman, it's really tough for anybody to do. And so I think they certainly need some more depth there, and have guys come along. I'm confident they will. I know Luke Butkus as a coach does a great job, and I'm kind of looking at, we knew offensive line was a position where there was not a huge margin for error when it came to victory. And here in 2 out of the first 3 games, we haven't had the offensive line that we thought we were going to have all offseason. I think from a run game perspective against North Carolina, they did okay. They were able to get some yards there. But certainly when you can run the ball, you need to run the ball in the Big Ten, and you need to be able to stop the run in the Big Ten. And Illinois the past couple of weeks has struggled in those areas.
Martin, I think coming into the season, people were reasonable about their expectations for this team and also had a pretty good long-term outlook on what needs to be done to get Illinois up to a Big Ten championship caliber level, or even a team that goes a 7-8 wins regularly, like an Iowa, something like that. That takes time, certainly, but has there been anything these 3 games that has, I don't want to say shocked you, but really surprised you as far as an area where this team is deficient, where you thought they might be okay?
No, I mean, I think it's certainly any time you have a new coaching staff come in, it's going to take time. I think the one thing that I would like to see more of is just the ability to convert on third downs and string together some drives on offense. And I think some of that comes back to, penalties, getting behind the chains, also not having kind of your first-string offensive line able to be in there. So I still have a lot of hope for this season. I mean, it's only 3 games. I think you look at the rest of the schedule, there's obviously some games that look tougher at this point than others right now, but a lot of the other ones I think are very much, still toss-up games that Illinois should be in towards the end and have a good chance to win. So, I'm not willing to mail in the season after a couple of weeks that have been a little bit disappointing, but I think I thought the offense would be able to be a little bit more along the lines of what we saw against Murray State, even against North Carolina a couple of times. But it's just kind of in that lack of consistency that I'd like to see more of.
He's Martin.
More consistency.
Yeah, he's Martin O'Donnell, Fighting Illini Radio Network. You can follow him on Twitter at Martin064, former Illini offensive lineman. You had some, the quarterback position is always under fire. It's always under the microscope, and I even told Wes that after the North Carolina game. Just what is your evaluation? I just want to leave it open for you of Wes Lunt so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wes has done okay. I mean, I think anytime you look at the offense, a lot of times you can't really see a lot of the symptoms as to why a play can or cannot work. I mean, I can sit there and watch a game and I can guess what I thought the play call was, and I can guess what I thought, receivers' route responsibilities were. I think Wes, he threw the pick last week. He'd done a good job of taking care of the ball, but it's tough anytime your offense becomes more one-dimensional to put all that on one guy. So I think Wes has done fine. I think he still has the ability to be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten and in the Big Ten West. And you just have to see it. And a lot of that is it's converting third downs. It's, again, making sure you're not getting yourself behind the chains. And if you can get a good running game, it's going to make things a whole lot better.
I think Wes obviously has always been taught, take the open thing. And I think defenses are trying to take away the run against Illinois, force him to pass. And I don't know if his receivers are getting open very much, but a lot of people, like with Jake Cutler, bring up body language. They bring up, is he a leader? What do you see with Wes Lunt in terms of those intangible qualities, stepping into throws in the face of pressure, things we saw Carson Wentz do last night, who's obviously a number 2 overall pick, but those intangible qualities with Wes?
Well, I think it's one of those things where you always look at it and you say, well, if things aren't going well, people will bring up issues about, he's not as expressive or anything like that. Well, if Illinois is winning, then you have a quarterback who's cool under pressure, right? I mean, I think a lot of times the Wes is who he is, and I think in terms of leadership, there's no question he's a leader on the team. I mean, his teammates voted him one of the captains this year for the entire season. So, I think some of the criticism that he gets, that the quarterback position as a whole gets, is a little bit too much. I think there's, anytime you have success, you struggle. Football is the best sport in the world, in my opinion, because you've got 11 guys on the field, and if one guy doesn't do their job, well, then the whole play can just implode. And I think what we've seen a couple of times here this year are, you can pinpoint something and say, well, he checked down to that guy awfully quickly when he needed 8 yards and we only got 5 yards. Why didn't he take a shot down the field? Well, we don't really know what the receivers are supposed to be doing. We don't know if there's an issue with protection. There's a lot of these other components that you really can't tell unless you know the play. And the only guys who know the play are sitting over there in Memorial Stadium, and by and large, they're not going to open up their playbook for outsiders.
Martin, continuity obviously matters for college football programs, and Illinois had very little of that over the last decade. So being year one of Lovie Smith and his staff, even though it's early on, and I guess March, they got into it late, do you expect there to be incremental or exponential improvement over the year as they get this system in place, or a lot of these things that you're seeing on the field more easily correctable and just simply matters of execution?
I think I expect to see progress every week. I think that's what everybody should expect. And the thing I think that has been frustrating at times has been a lot of the penalties the past couple of weeks. Almost 100, 13 penalties for 99 yards against North Carolina. They declined a couple more. And then the first half last week, there were some more of those same types of penalties. They cleaned it up a little bit in the second half. But, as I look at it, I think this is going to be a different team if you can eliminate penalties and you can get some more consistency on special teams. And I think that's an area where, you should see progress, obviously, as the year goes along. And then those two things certainly help out the offense. They help out the defense in terms of not putting the defense in bad field position, giving the offense shorter fields. I'm not somebody that I'm not expecting Rome to be built in a day here, but I think there's certainly enough talent on this team to be in a lot of games. I think there's enough talent on this team to go to a bowl game this year. I thought that before the season. My opinion hasn't changed. I think a lot of it to this point have been issues with execution and unforced errors. And if you can clean that up, well, then I think we're going to see a different team.
I think this is an elite pass rushing team with that front four. I think they're great against that. But the one issue I had coming into the season is we haven't seen this team effectively stop the run, though, last year and a half. North Carolina, I thought they looked really good for 3 quarters. That was really encouraging. But then Western Michigan kind of ran over them. What did you see? What did they expose, Western Michigan and a little bit of North Carolina? Obviously, there's a lot of talent on that team, too.
Well, I think, I'm not sure exactly what they exposed. I think any time you have a defense, the most challenging type of offense, in my opinion, and this is especially for your defensive ends and your linebackers, your safeties, are when you have an offense like Western Michigan and like North Carolina to a certain extent, where essentially every single play there's 3 options and they can beat you any way you give them. It's you fake the handoff, and if they close down, the quarterback can pull it and run, or he can throw a slant or a hitch or something behind it. And an offense like Western Michigan that is in year 4 of their system, they have guys that have been in it. They have their system down to a T, and they also have a couple of guys. I mean, that was not your typical MAC offensive line. Right. Western Michigan was a very impressive offensive line, in my opinion, and watching them in film study, watching them last Saturday. They also have a tight end who's a heck of a blocker. And I think anytime you're facing an offense that has a mobile quarterback that runs the option and that can also do a lot of the run-pass option, the RPOs off of that, that's the most challenging because a lot of times linebackers and safeties really can't be right. And so North Carolina was kind of like that. I think Nebraska is going to kind of be like that. But I think what we have with the front four, and I think they did show it on Saturdays, they are still really disruptive. Yep. And I think their strength is the pass rush, but Robbie Bain is playing great inside right now, in my opinion. The guy's all over the place eating up blockers, and I think when you look at the rest of the schedule, you look at Wisconsin, you look at Iowa, you look at Minnesota, Northwestern to a certain extent, but some of those teams that are maybe a little bit more traditional, I think in some ways that cleans up some of the reads for your linebackers and your safeties, and it allows your defensive linemen to really not have to worry as much about that mobile quarterback element. So I think part of it was Western Michigan's a good team. Mm-hmm. Illinois didn't execute the way that they should have executed. And, I think going forward, like I said, it's a good time for a bye week. You've seen a lot. You've seen maybe two of the best offenses you're going to play all year. So the issues that Illinois has had, the coaches can, really work on them, focus back on fundamentals, and get the right guys healthy.
Martin O'Donnell, you were here at the end of the Turner era, turning over to the Zook era. What did you see in 05 and 06 that said, hey, this is going in the right direction? So if fans are watching this in the next year or two, or, this season can still be successful, obviously, and we don't know what will happen, but what did you see that said, okay, this thing's going to turn around? So in a rebuild, when you're in the middle of it, what can you look at to see that this team's taking the right steps forward?
Yeah, and like I said, I think there's still plenty of reason to be hopeful and optimistic for this year. But as I think back on him, it's hard to glean a lot from 2005, just simply because going from a pro-style offense to a spread offense, we struggled on offense, we struggled on defense. I think really in year two there, in 2006, there's the old axiom, lose big, lose small, win big. Well, at least in that case, back in 05, we lost big. In 06, we lost small. And then in 07, we started winning small and then a little bit bigger towards the end. But I think really what you look for is you look for improvement. And that's all you really can look for. I think you look for the teams that are supposed to be strengths on your team. Are they the strengths? Who's flashing as the younger players? Who are the guys that are in there that are developing, that are getting better on a week-to-week basis? And I think you can see that with some of the guys on the team now. So that's something that I focus a lot on, is trying to see, hey, who do I think from week to week is performing better this week than they did last week?
Coaches and players, when they're active, they can never say anything like this. They can never admit to the idea that, well, we might not win this game, but that's okay. But looking at this Nebraska game, it's definitely an uphill battle for this team to eke a win out of Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places. But is there a scenario, though, where even with the loss, they get back in the locker room and they think, oh, well, you know what, we made progress today, and now this shapes up well for the rest of the season?
I'm not a big believer in moral victories. I think a lot of it comes down to, you're going to, depending on the way that you played during the game, that's going to dictate probably how you feel, maybe looking back on it far away. A loss is a loss. And, while Nebraska, that you can really point to, but I think what it's going to be is win or loss. Are they establishing their identity? And that's really something that I am most interested in overall is, what is our identity going to be as a team? Are we a team that can run the ball? Was Western Michigan really just kind of a blip? Are we a team that can pass a little bit more downfield? We haven't seen a ton of that. Defensively, we want to get after the quarterback. Those are a lot of the things that just kind of overall this season I'm really looking for is, what is Illinois football going to look like for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years?
Awesome stuff. Martin O'Donnell, Illini Radio Network. Keep up the good work there. You're the goods, man. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, good stuff. Martin O'Donnell really knows his football. And, yeah, I think, you're looking for those little things. And I agree with him. I think Nebraska's a terrible matchup. But I do think there are some games down the road, including the two right after Nebraska, that match up pretty well for you, where you start winning those games, you're back in it, you still got a chance. It's going to be an uphill climb to get to a bowl game, though 5-7, you can still make a bowl game, right in this day and age. But you'd start to feel better about the direction you're heading in.
It's going to be interesting, too, though, talking about establishing an identity or any sort of rhythm this season. You have winnable games punctuated by really not winnable at all.
Ohio State, or no, Michigan State.
But that's the thing. So you got Nebraska coming up next. Then you have two winnable games. That's nice. Purdue at Rutgers. And then you're at Michigan.
Yeah.
And then all very quickly, even if you had two good games in a row, you could lose 49-10. Mm-hmm. So, how do you respond to that? And Martin was on those two consecutive 2-win teams. I guess it would have been 3 wins in Turner's last year, then 2 consecutive 2-win years, and then the Rose Bowl season. So it was a meteoric rise for a team that had won a lot of games, but you could see it on the field. And I think as this season goes along, now that we've recalibrated what we expect this team to do, as long as they look like a serviceable team and a good portion of these Big Ten games, then that gives you something. But we'll know it if we see it, I think.
We'll talk some Cardinals coming up next. Chris Raby, KMOX, joining us on the Tay and J Show.
Hey, it's your old pal Bobby Betts here from Winning Picks, here to talk to you about the boatload of money you can make this weekend by betting at MyBookie. You know who's going to win a game, right? It's time to put your money where your mouth is and join the thousands of online players, just like me, and start betting at MyBookie. Now look, I'd only recommend a service that's been good to me. That's why I'm urging you to make your way to MyBookie. You win, they pay. You're wasting your time if you're betting anywhere else. They offer the highest credit card acceptance rates, so you can start playing instantly. They also have in-game live betting, so you can even place a bet after kickoff. And unlike some other websites, MyBookie offers fast, no-hassle payouts when you win. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with a 100% bonus. Yeah, use promo code RADIO to activate the offer. Visit MyBookie today or call 844-900-BETS. 844-900-BETS. Expert or rookie, you gotta check out MyBookie. Sign up today.
I've been talking to Jim Greenfield at Spritz Jewelers for a long time. He's a good jeweler. He's your guy downtown Champaign, located at 205 North Neal. And I tell you, if you want something created, you want something really, really nice, you go to Spritz Jewelers. Jim, it's the 9th month of 2016. What do you have going on?
It's September, and it's Sapphire month at Spritz Jewelers. Sapphire is the birthstone for the month of September, and the glorious sapphire in light blues and medium blues and dark blues, they're all on sale at Spritz, 20% off. There's diamond and sapphire Adelinks, sapphire Adelinks, sapphire earrings, sapphire pendants, sapphire bracelets, any sapphire at all. They're all on sale at Spritz for the entire month of September.
They come in, they see you, you've got the best sapphires, and people will love looking at the choices you have.
We have a great selection, and we're downtown Champaign at 205 North Neal with free and easy parking directly west of the store.
Jim Greenfield, Spritz Jewelers, 205 North Neal in downtown Champaign.
It's panic time. The boss just asked you when that new building will be completed, and you haven't even started yet. Well, don't panic. Call the name you know. General Steel. You've known General Steel for decades, and you know they'll save you about half the cost and about half the time of conventional construction. But did you know that General Steel has provided buildings for some of the biggest names in business and government? And did you know the General can provide pre-construction planning services for your total project? And I'll bet you didn't know you can get General Steel quality and save thousands. For example, a 40-foot by 60-foot building for under $22,000, or a 50 by 100 for under $35,000. That's right, 5,000 square feet for under $35,000, and all with General Steel's 50-year structural warranty. So don't panic. Call now and lock in some of the lowest prices this year. 866-96-STEEL. Call 866-96-STEEL today. Quick, the boss is coming. That's 866-967-8335.
Hey, Scott Johnson here at Champaign Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, where you can save thousands on new and pre-owned vehicles. At Champaign Chrysler, we have over 400 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock, something for every style and budget. It was a record August, and we're not stopping. Right now at Champaign Chrysler, it's the Jeep Celebration event and the 20% off sale. Come celebrate Champaign Chrysler's 3-year anniversary with great deals and huge savings. Like this, get 20% off the MSRP on select 2016 Ram 1500s, 2016 Chrysler 300s, 2016 Dodge Charger and Dodge Journeys, the 2016 Dodge Grand Caravan, and the all-new 2016 Jeep Cherokee. So if you're looking for that new car, truck, or SUV, now is the time. Get 20% off many in-stock models. Also, right now, it's the Jeep Celebration event. Earn an extra $500 on select Jeep models. It's the Jeep Celebration and the 20% off sale going on now at Champaign Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Visit us online at ChampaignChrysler.com or the awesome team in person, 1906 Moreland Boulevard, corner of Moreland and Market View. But remember, tell them Scott sent you to Champaign Chrysler, where we make buying a car easy.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance, finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com. Don't miss Kelsey Furniture's annual warehouse sale this Saturday, September 24th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Visit both locations in Tuscola, the Main Street store and the warehouse on Wilson Street. Hundreds of one-of-a-kind discontinued brand name items, many items priced at or below dealer's cost. Large selection of dining rooms, living rooms, bedrooms, and bedding. Delivery service is available, but you can haul your own and save. Family-owned Kelsey's Furniture's annual warehouse sale in Tuscola this Saturday for the look you love for less. Rehab Professionals, the only multi-integrated physical therapy, athletic training, and chiropractic clinic in the Champaign-Urbana area. Whether you're recovering from knee, shoulder, back, or muscle injuries, Rehab Professionals prides themselves on the success they have with their patients. Basketball, baseball, football, hockey, golf, running, injuries happen, and Rehab Professionals has the physical therapy services to get you back to 100%. They offer free sports injury exams, and they're in-network with most major insurance companies. Visit Rehab Professionals online at rehabpro.net.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Great discussion. Martin O'Donnell about Illini football. Let's head back to the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line. Jeremy Warner, Michael Carpenter filling in for Lante. And talk some Cardinals. Never bury them, folks. Been talking about that all year. Never bury these Cardinals. Once they lose 4 in a row, then they'll win 5 or 6 in a row. It's kind of what this team has done. Let's talk about them. Chris Raby, KMOX. And you can follow him on Twitter, by the way, at CRaby. That's CHRABE. Chris, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
I mean, they keep their season alive with those 2 wins in San Francisco. You just never know with this team. Every time you count them out, Chris, here they are back again.
Yeah, it's the thing, though. They haven't really had the long stretch of winning or losing, and they've kind of just been a team that's kind of ping-pong back and forth between 6, 7, 8 games over 500. They were 5 over after just a thumping Friday night, and, you know, they'll never say must-win, but Saturday was about as close as you got to a must-win situation, because if they had lost and had fallen, 4 or 5 games behind the Giants for the wild card, things would have been really, really ugly. So their 38th come-from-behind win on Saturday night, doing it in the 9th inning, as the Giants have just had bullpen problem after bullpen problem. A great start from Alex Reyes on Sunday, and then a win yesterday, and all of a sudden they're tied with San Francisco, a reeling, I think, San Francisco team, and they're just one behind the New York Mets.
You mentioned Alex Reyes, and if they get as far as an entire postseason series, he's got to be in the rotation, right?
Yeah, I think 100%. I think it's, obviously, you kind of rank him as Carlos Martinez. I imagine Adam Wainwright would be the next guy, even if performance hasn't necessarily made that crystal clear. But then I think you've got 2 young guys in Reyes and Luke Weaver who have kind of each done their job to stake a claim to the rotation. They've had hiccups at times, but Sunday, with what was on the line, because of the team that you were facing, because of the tough time that the Cardinals have had scoring runs in San Francisco, that was about as big a start as they've had all year, and Reyes was fantastic. The one thing that had really hurt him in the past was not being able to limit the walks and his pitch count getting up, but he was able to deal with that. When we saw a tough situation, a throwing error that put runners on second and third with just 1 out, he was able to get out of that. So we saw some real steps from Reyes, and I imagine that he would be a part of any playoff rotation if the Cardinals are fortunate enough to get to a wild card game, get through a wild card game, and get into the NLDS.
Carlos Martinez, the wild card game starter. I mean, I know it's Leake's turn, but it'd be Carlos Martinez's day. Any doubt? Because, Wainwright just hasn't pitched well enough for it, right?
Yeah, 0. And, Carlos has also been really, really good on the road. The Cardinals would love to have that game at home, despite the home road record, and Carlos has been your best guy. Also, I don't really put too much stock into this, but he's been really good with the bat, too. Like, he drove in 2 runs last night. He then scored a run. He's hitting .250 on the year, so it doesn't hurt you. He's very good defensively. He's been the full package, and really this year we've seen that on display. But an electric arm, he kind of struggled physically a little bit last night just because he was running the bases, and twice on almost consecutive pitches would have scored from second on the ground ball, and then that was a foul ball, then did score from second on a single by Matt Carpenter. So I think he was a little winded, the altitude in Denver, but yeah, he has absolutely been your best guy. I would, say it's a maybe not a lock, but 99% chance that he'd be the guy in a one-game playoff.
Chris Raby, KMOX Cardinals Radio Network. You'll hear him before pregame tonight out in Colorado. Who's been the Cardinals MVP this season, Chris?
It's a really interesting question, one that I've been thinking a lot of, and I would say Yadier Molina. I know that Stephen Piscotty has put up huge numbers relative to what they expected from that position if he wasn't there. I know that Aledmys Diaz has been a real catalyst for the team, has been a spark for the team, and who knows where you'd be without him after some of the injuries in spring training. But the reason I say Yadi is because he's having one of his best offensive seasons. He is helping a pitching staff and a bullpen that has looked completely different than we thought it was going to look at the beginning of the year. And I don't know how he's been behind the plate every single day. Only Piscotty has played more games than him. He already this year has matched the number of games that he played last year. Only once in his career has he played 140 games. He's going to surpass that. And he's going to well surpass the number of innings that he's had behind the plate. So in a year where everyone has dealt with injuries, in a year when, for the first time, I think, with Yadier Molina, so the first time in a decade, you felt like you went out and acquired a guy who could be not just a serviceable backup, but a backup that you were excited about, in Brian Pena, who played very well in Cincinnati and then immediately got hurt. Yadi's been the guy who's played every single day. And I know it's really hard to quantify the effect that a catcher has on a pitching staff, or the effect that a catcher has on a young pitcher, or what it means when Yadi goes out and makes sure Carlos Martinez gets some water last night when he's struggling and clearly struggling to catch his breath. We can't quantify any of that stuff. But, just on the surface, in a year when everything has kind of come off the rails at one time or another, he's really been the guy who's been in there, who's been behind the plate, and who's been producing. So because of those reasons, I say Yadier Molina.
Interesting.
Chris Raby from KMOX. You can follow him on Twitter at @CRaby. That's HRABE. And I know that Lon Tay is confounded by Jaime Garcia and just what he is to this team and what his future is with the team. How do you see that playing out? I mean, could he be a part of long-term plans, or do we kind of have enough of a dossier to know what Jaime Garcia is?
I think we know what he is, and what he's been for the Cardinals this year and last year has been a guy who's thrown innings, and that's really, really important because – again, they've just dealt with so many injuries. And I know that it's frustrating, and fans can look at his struggles, and fans can, point to especially the last week or so, but he was really good last year, and he was solid this year until the last couple of weeks. I don't know if the workload has caught up to him. I don't know if it's a combination of that, and maybe he's dealing with something. I don't know if it's just the end of a long season for him, because he has never pitched as much as he's pitched this year, going back over the last 4 or 5 years. So long-term plans, I don't think so. This year, I'm not even sure we'll see him again. I certainly don't think we'll see him make a start. I don't know if we'll see him out of the bullpen, but his option for next year is just $12 million. So when you look around baseball, James Shields is making $21 million this year. Matt Cain is making more than $20 million this year. Some of the deals and the money that pitchers get is just staggering. So would it surprise me if they pick up his option next year, 1 year, $12 million? No, it's just a cash deal. You don't really risk anything other than cash. And what you get is a guy that has been a big league pitcher and has been really, really good at times and has been maddeningly inconsistent at times. So I certainly think they'll bring him back. I know that we can list off the 8 or 9 pitchers right now that we think are going to compete in spring training for a spot in the rotation. But, how often do you leave camp with 5 guys, then go with 5 guys the entire year? It doesn't happen. And if it does, it's probably a fluke. So I think they bring him back next year because it's just 1 year, $12 million an option. I don't know if he'll even make a start for the Cardinals next year. I don't know if he'll be traded. But certainly I think it's a fairly nice insurance policy that's pretty low risk on the surface.
And certainly there's a wild card spot looming here for the Cardinals that they can get that done. But as far as the offseason, I know it's a little bit early to maybe get into that, but how would you characterize what the Cardinals may look to do this coming offseason?
Well, it's going to be internal decisions. It's going to be Jaime Garcia's option and Matt Holliday's option. Those are going to be the two big decisions that they have. It's going to be figuring out what you do at first base, because if you do want to move Yadier Molina a little bit from behind the plate and move him to first base, well, then you've got Matt Adams, you've got Brandon Moss, you've got a couple of guys right there who both hit from the left side in our first baseman. Moss is going to be a free agent. I think he's certainly earned himself some money, so that's going to be a decision. Who's going to back up Yadier Molina? Will Brian Pena be back? Will it be Carson Kelly, who is a young guy? Do you need to go out and get another outfielder if Matt Holliday is not going to be with the team next year? Because outside of Randall Grichuk and Stephen Piscotty, I'm not sure you feel good about Hazel Baker or Pham playing every day, and I'm not sure that there's a guy right on the cusp in the minor leagues right now who could fill in. So I think it's going to be a lot of internal decisions, and then following that, you go and you just kind of patch up your holes. Last year was kind of an anomaly because the Cardinals made two massive $100 million plus deals to David Price and Jason Hayward. I don't know if we're going to see that this year, just because the crop of free agents is nothing compared to what it was last season. Does it mean the Cardinals won't go out and make a splashy trade? No, they could still certainly do that, especially if an outfielder could be had. We hear the names in Colorado a lot, but not to be boring, but first and foremost, it's going to be answering your internal questions about Brandon Moss, the options for Garcia and Holliday, the future of Yadier Molina, who your backup catcher is, and then getting some guys back healthy. So certainly a lot of decisions and a lot of discussions to be had, and for the first time in a couple of years, I think they all start internally.
Chris Raby, KMOX, before I let you go, I wanted to ask, how much are people, when you break up with somebody, you still kind of look at their Facebook, you kind of are interested in what they're doing. Are St. Louis sports fans, still paying attention to the Rams, still talking about the Rams?
A little bit, but more in like the sense of if you looked at your ex-girlfriend's Facebook, you'd be like, God, that dude is so ugly that she's with. What a loser. I know that guy. Like, he's a loser. And that's what it was after the game in San Francisco when the Rams got absolutely thumped. And then I think it was tough to watch them in Los Angeles, watch all the excitement around them playing in Los Angeles for the first time in 20 years and beat the Seahawks. So I think people are taking a little bit of pleasure in some of the stumblings of the Rams. I'm not sure what will happen, in 6 months or what will happen in a year. It's funny that when you ask people, where are you with the NFL right now? Are you rooting for the Rams? Are you rooting for your fantasy team? Have you picked a new team? Or have you cut the cord entirely from the entire league? I would say that far and away, the least that I've heard are people that are still rooting for the Rams. So there's a lot of spite there, which I 100% get. There is a lot of anger there, which I 100% get, because, they totally got screwed over. Roger Goodell then has comments like, no city should ever lose their team once, let alone twice. And I think fans feel rightfully really, really angry. So right now I think it's kind of root against the Rams, and then people kind of branch off from there. I have invited everyone to jump on the Chicago Bears bandwagon with me, but boy, was that hard last night. I'm trying to frame Jay Cutler as a hero for trying to play with the torn thumb ligament, but man, what a disaster that seems to be. Every time they kind of suck me in and I try to talk myself into them a little bit, they go and do what they did last night.
Well, Chris, for any St. Louis Rams fan that wants a little bit of schadenfreude, they can take solace in the fact that they will likely go 7-9 yet again.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. That's the other thing, too. I think we kind of just laugh at Jeff Fisher and how he continues to pull rabbits out of his hat and get extension after extension. Two seasons above 500 since 2003. It's unreal. I don't know how the guy does it. I mean, he's a nice guy. People like him. He's well respected, but I don't think he's a very good football coach. Look at what Lovie Smith did in Chicago. I think he was like 83-56 with the Bears. He goes 10-6 the year that he gets fired. I was at the game against the Packers when it was winner of this game goes to the playoffs, and it was Aaron Rodgers to a freshly off the IR Randall Cobb for a touchdown on fourth down. I mean, I don't know how that guy gets fired there, then gets fired in Tampa Bay after he turned that team around, but Jeff Fisher keeps cashing checks. Yep. So, again, I know kind of apples and oranges, but, man, it's absurd how Fisher continues to not just coach, but get paid and get extensions and raises. So, God bless him. I need to call his agent, I guess.
Chris, hopefully we can have you on to preview a wild card matchup in, about a week and a half. Hopefully we can.
Yeah, that'd be great, and I'll leave you guys with this real quick. I know you got to roll, but I got this sent to me today, and it looks like just for your listeners, according to MLB Network, if the Cardinals, Mets, and Giants all have an identical record, a three-way tie for the wild card, then the Mets and Cardinals would play on October 4th. The loser of that game would play the Giants on October 5th, and then the winner of the first game and the winner of the second game would play on October 6th, and the winner of that game would go play the Cubs. So
I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for that.
Around that.
That's a lot of baseball that I'd love to watch. Chris, thanks.
A lot of baseball.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Later, guys.
All right, it's Chris Raby, KMOX. You'll hear him on pregame with the Colorado Rockies. That starts about 6:50.
I was wondering about that. If you get a tie in that situation, even if it's a two-team tie.
Wouldn't that be fun?
If it's a two-team tie, you get a play-in game for the play-in game,
yeah,
right?
But if it's three-team tie, you get 3 games for the wild card.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
But then you'd be delaying the other NL series, wouldn't you?
That's okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on, it's a lot of good baseball.
I want to get to it. I want to get to the Cubs are a nice diversion this October, so I want to get to that.
I got to run to get to football practice, figure out what the Illini are doing to get better. But you and Austin will finish up the show. You got Mike's Mike
coming up next. You can always text questions to 359-2255. That's 359-2255. It is the Tay and J Show.
Your dreams require dedication and innovation, and Busey is the trusted advisor to make those dreams reality. Whether you're saving for your child's education, keeping the family in the family business, or planning your dream retirement, Busey's team can help. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations for solutions to your banking and wealth management needs. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted rentals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
In today's world of voluntary benefits, let the Ware Group General Agencies be your guide to your employees' best options. Now you can expand their benefits without direct cost to you, but with greatly enhanced choices. Their unique agency design lets them obtain plans traditionally reserved for big companies. But with one call, the Ware Group will review your needs, get the best products and prices, and with reliable post-enrollment service. By using multiple carriers, they can put their experience and knowledge to work for you. Contact Ware Group General Agencies in Champaign at WareGroupGA.com.
Register now for the 3rd annual River to Rail Ride on Saturday, September 24th. The scenic ride takes you from Middle Fork River Forest Preserve in Penfield to Kickapoo State Park. Choose from one of 3 routes, 15, 31, or 62 miles. For those who want to see more of the local countryside, there's a 47-mile gravel route too. Registration is $35 until September 21st and $40 the day of. Barbecue lunch is included after the ride. The River to Rail Ride is a benefit ride for the Kickapoo Rail Trail. Register at ccfpd.org.
Game Day Spirit Fan Store is your destination for local high school merchandise this season. They now have a full line of Under Armour merchandise for Centennial, Central, Muhammad Seymour, Unity, and Urbana high schools. Want to receive special deals, discounts, and exclusive looks at new merchandise for your school? Text Local HS to 555-888 to be a VIP insider for your school. That's Local HS to 555-888 to be the talk of your town. Good luck to all the local teams playing this weekend from Game Day Spirit Fan Store, your local destination for high school and Fighting Illini apparel.
Score big and join us at Sunsinger Restaurant Wine Bar before or after the game. Enjoy delicious hand-cut Angus steaks, chops, and fresh seafood, or gourmet salads and sandwiches, along with draft beer and 30 wines by the glass. Sunsinger makes tailgating and entertaining easy. Their gourmet deli has a wide array of side dishes, appetizers, and custom party platters. With a unique selection of beer, spirits, and gifts, Sunsinger Restaurant Wine Bar is the area's best choice when spending time with your friends and family. On Windsor at Galen in Champaign.
We know how much you love your car. Protect your ride with AutoGuard from Pekin Insurance and your local independent agency. AutoGuard picks up where other policies fall short, offering trip interruption coverage, key replacement, tire protection, accidental airbag deployment coverage, and more. All for just $20 per year per vehicle. Call your local Pekin Insurance agent or visit www.pekininsurance.com to put their beyond the expected services to work for you with AutoGuard.
Have you thought about popping the question? Well, take an E with the Tay and J Show. ESPN 93.5 and Christopher & Company are helping area gentlemen propose to their ladies with the ultimate engagement. Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign will provide store credit for the engagement ring, and Lon and Jeremy will help with the rest. But we need your help. Vote for the guy you think should win today at ESPNCU.com. Listen to the podcast, then place your vote for our Take an E contestants: Cody, Zach, Lucas, or Evan. Decide who wins by voting now at ESPNCU.com.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style, so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
Can't find the Cubs on TV? No problem. Listen to them on our sister station, Sunny 95.3. Champaign-Urbana's home for soft rock favorites from then and now, and Cubs baseball. When you're heading home, Tay and Jay are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Austin Birkeland. Hello, Austin.
How's it going, Carp?
We got to wrap the show up, just me and you, because Jeremy had to go over to Illinois football practice, get the lowdown, the nitty-gritty on the 1 and 2 Illinois football team. But the good thing is, when we reach a segment like this at the end of a show that's been only about football, it's nice to branch out. Now, usually we do Taste Take, brought to you by DP Dough. And I'll just say DP Dough can sponsor this segment, too, because there's no show tomorrow. Mm-hmm. This is going to be the last 8 minutes of the Tay and J Show before we come back on Thursday for a full-length show. And we are going to do what we call Mike's Mic. Now, can you explain to the listeners how this works?
Mike's Mic is essentially like Taste Take, where you send in Twitter questions, you send in text questions, and then you get inside the brain of whatever Mike Carpenter thinks about.
And we have at least 5 questions I think we can work with.
Yes, we
here.
have 6.
Okay. We have 6 questions. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's get going here. I guess we'll go with the football music again. What is question number 1?
Question 1. It's Sophia Loren's 82nd birthday. Which 50s or 60s babe was your favorite?
Okay, 50s or 60s babe. I'll categorize them in a few different ways. You have Grace Kelly, who's untouchable. All right,
yeah.
Grace Kelly is the tops, the most beautiful woman that
She's
might have ever lived.
She's the Tom Brady of that era.
Yeah, I'd say so. Classy, elegant, a woman of few words, but when she spoke, there was some class about that lady. Grace Kelly, 1, and then everyone else gets in line. But if we're talking like babe, Sophia Loren type of babe, the voluptuous body type, everything like that, I think you have to go Raquel Welch in the 60s and Jane Fonda and Barbarella.
All right.
I think a lot of people know that movie poster. Those are the 2 right there. But for classiness, elegance, and you know I hate the word classy. I only use it in rare instances. I'm throwing that Grace Kelly's way. The Princess of Monaco, may she rest in peace, died in 1980 in a car accident.
That is sad.
Yes, but for anyone that has not seen Rear Window...
that's a great movie.
Great movie, and the opening shot of her coming into view, of Jimmy Stewart, his view of her, that breathtaking.
Well, I got to check out what's going on.
That's pretty good. Mr. Potter, you're a no good man. Okay. What's the next question here? I did a Barack Obama impersonation on Saturday. It was terrible. And I just did an even worse Jimmy Stewart impression. So
mine was worse. Don't worry. Brangelina broke up. Who is your favorite celebrity couple of all time?
Who? Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Because they said, you know what? We aren't going to get married. We just like each other. We're comfortable in our own skin. I think they're still together, to be honest. And Kurt Russell's always been kind of one of my favorite Hollywood actors because he seems like a guy that genuinely would be cool to hang out with. And Goldie Hawn's a little bit quirky. She got her start in that Laugh-In show back in the 60s. She was a flower child back then. And I thought she was actually a pretty good comedic actress, too. So I think those 2, if you're talking what celebrity couple would you want to invite over for a barbecue or something, I'm going Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that is a good one. The Emmys were last weekend, Carp. What is your best? What is the best show on TV right now?
Currently, let's see. Night of was fantastic. Now, I don't think it was up for any of the Emmy stuff. It was too late. And I wonder if they'll remember it the next go-round, because that's basically a full year would have gone by. The Night of is the best thing I've seen recently. Stranger Things was fantastic.
A lot of 80s nostalgia type.
A lot of, and not overbearingly so. It embraces that nostalgia without overwhelming you with it. But the best show on television, and I'm biased because I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, huge Vince Gilligan fan, even though he's gradually, I think, taking a back seat in this show, is Better Call Saul. That has Bob Odenkirk as Saul, the lawyer from Breaking Bad. It has Rhea Seehorn as Kim, his, let's see, what would be the word? I guess you have to watch the show. Spoiler alert, but girlfriend /
coworker with benefits.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Better Call Saul. It was so good in season 2 after a really good first season. I encourage anyone to watch it. The first season's on Netflix, but it's one that is getting better and better. And then you'll appreciate this too, Austin. Season 3 of a certain show is coming back on my birthday, October 21st.
Okay.
Black Mirror
is
coming back to Netflix. Anyone that has not seen that, we could call it a current show, even though it's been a couple years. Watch Black Mirror. If you like The Twilight Zone, anything like that, and you like good satire, dark humor, Black Mirror.
It's fantastic. I will agree with you on that one. Alex from Urbana asked, if you could only listen to only 2 Dave Matthews songs for the rest of your life, what would they be?
That we got on the text line, and I've been thinking about that. Okay, I'm going to pick probably 2 songs that have jam potential, because you want songs that can take you someplace. You want songs that you want to maximize the two that you do get to pick. Oh, my goodness. I guess I would have to go with... Goodness gracious, this is really, really difficult. I'll go with Pig.
Okay.
Which is his best lyrical song. Very Carpe Diem kind of message. And I'll go Two Step, which is an epic tune, great intro. It's turned into a rock song live, and it's probably their best live song. You can get about a 15 to 20-minute version easily. So I will go Pig, Two Step, my 2 Dave songs.
All right, those are good choices. Final one, Brad Warner asks, what's your favorite guilty pleasure band?
Guilty pleasure band. Well, some would argue Dave, because he's easy to make fun of, and I get that. I think people make fun of more the culture around Dave Matthews Band fans than the actual band themselves, which they're a fantastic band. But guilty pleasure band, The Darkness.
Explain, what is The Darkness?
The Darkness, I believe in a thing called love, was their big hit.
Oh, yeah.
We cover that in Decadence, but with The Darkness, they basically meld elements of Queen, AC/DC, 70s glam rock, but they rip. And it was actually one of the most unexpectedly good concerts I've ever been to. They had a reunion tour back in 2012, I think, at the Metro in Chicago. So for those that have never been, the Metro fits maybe 600, 700 people. It might fit 1,000 standing room if you really pack it in there. Super small venue. Every spot is really good. And The Darkness comes out and just blows our eardrums out in the best way possible. Great rock and roll band. Don't let that crazy falsetto voice make you think they're a joke band. They have a sense of humor, but when it comes down to it, they rip. So The Darkness is my guilty pleasure band.
I'd probably have to go with Justin Bieber.
Really?
Yeah, I love Justin Bieber.
Well, it's catchy songs. It's
like
good pop song
his new
craft.
stuff is something great mixed with EDM. It's a lot more. It's a lot different than just typical pop.
Are you an EDM guy?
Yeah, I dig the EDM every once in a while.
All right. I've been trying to get into it myself. There's a guy named Carpenter Brut.
Okay.
A German guy. No relation. And it's pretty good. I recommend Carpenter Brut. Justice. They're very much like a Daft Punk. And, of course, Daft Punk is sort of the Led Zeppelin of the EDM movement. But, yeah, that's sort of all the rage now. If you go to the Canopy Club, that's all the only shows they really have there, EDM.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I love the beats. I love how they can sample different classic songs and reinvent them in a different way.
Yeah. Austin, appreciate it as always. Jeremy Warner, for him, he's now at Illinois football practice. He'll have probably plenty of good stuff for you guys on Thursday because there is no Tay and J show tomorrow. The Cardinals actually first pitch at 2:10. So no show tomorrow, but a full show again on Thursday and a later show on Friday because the Cubs and Cardinals first pitch at 1:20 at Wrigley Field for their final series of the year, which should be pretty fun. Mike Carpenter for Austin Berkland and Jeremy Warner. Got to thank Chris Emma and Chris Raby and Martin O'Donnell. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Lon, I have to admit, you've been on quite the health kick lately.
Absolutely, Jeremy, but I've had some help from the folks at the Mettler Center in Champaign. It's a fitness and wellness center, and they provide a personalized experience for everyone.
For starters, you can get a free 30-minute consult to find the right program for you, and they even have massage therapy.
Massage therapy, personal training, physical therapy, you name it, they got it.
And if you have a question, visit MEttlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert.
The Mettler Center at the corner of Windsor and Duncan in Champaign. Visit online at MEttlerCenter.com.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company, and it won't be long before you'll be getting back up on those shaky ladders, risking your neck cleaning out those mucky, yucky gutters. So if you never want to clean your gutters again, that's right, guaranteed never clean your gutters again, call us right now for the Gutter Helmet. We're running 15% off the Gutter Helmet, plus we have 0% financing for 18 months. Be sure to stop in our beautiful showroom on Country Fair Drive or give us a call for the Gutter Helmet.
The last time we elected a president, only 57.5% of registered voters showed up. It's hard to get everyone to do anything. So when 93% of us all do something, well, that's something. Every week, 93% of Americans listen to the radio, and they're all voting with their wallets every time they make a purchase. If you run a business, let a radio campaign tell your story. See how at StevieJay.com. That's StevieJay.com, or by calling 367-1195.
At Body and Soul, they take pride in giving you the perfect fit for your athletic shoes. Their team of experts will help you in selecting the style that fits your purpose and your feet. Body and Soul has offered the best prices and best quality for more than 30 years. And they aren't just shoes. Whether it's walking, running, swimming, or biking, or whether it's for you or the whole team, visit Mike or Jed and their experienced staff at Body and Soul, Route 45 Savoy. Call 356-8926 or visit soulsports.com.
You don't have to look far to find an experienced mortgage lender to help you purchase your dream home. Heartland Bank has locations throughout Central Illinois, right in your backyard. They will work with you to find a loan that meets your financial needs and budget. And local decision making allows them to close your loan quickly and get you into your new neighborhood. Heartland Bank, we're here for you. And there for you. And over there for you. Heartland Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St.